debut as he is firing on all cylinders from the controller role. This matchup will be defined by the Mata-Vic and Koala Xander head-to-head. For MXS, winning this match means finally realizing their potential and reaching the expectations bestowed upon them by their fans. For M80, it's about a shot at redemption and earning their spot in the partner league after falling just short last year. No matter how this one shakes out, it's sure to be an exciting matchup.
So like the video is saying, we have a very intense match coming up. Gompers, we know these rosters super well. Xander versus Flya on IGL. You got Koala Noob versus Mata on the Duelist. Oh, we're in for a treat.
It's exciting. I mean, we've looked at, obviously, everybody on both the M80 and the Moist Shopify roster. We've been following them along, but like you said, Mata being one of the duelists that honestly have proven themselves time and time again, right? Especially for MXS.
Time and time again. Take a drink.
I'd say one of the best. I won't say the best because I've seen Koala Noob go kind of crazy from time to time, and he's so versatile. So.
Oh. It's so tough too, right? Because, you know, if you can't say one or the other's the best duelist, it's one or the other of these two. These two have been the best duelists in the league by far, and who can take out the other, it's genuinely impossible to predict.
It was really back and forth the last time these two teams faced, and this is deja vu also from the last stage playoffs where Moist Shopify were one match away from making Ascension, didn't end up doing it. M80 made Ascension but couldn't make partnership. But let's zoom back on the last time these two teams faced, which was really not that long ago, Gompers.
No, it wasn't. They actually did go against each other. I believe it was actually, yeah, this is perfect that it pops up for me. I don't have to look at my notes. But yeah, 10-13 and 13-15 M80. It was a very, very close game.
It was like not too long ago too, right?
That bad. It's nice to know, you know, that there is history here coming up to such a big event, right? Whether or not you're going to make it to Ascension, whether or not you're going to be able to keep going. So having that prior knowledge, being able to maybe look back in the VODs, right? Look at what M80 had planned previously, I think will help a lot because M80 right now, they're in the running for maybe being the best team. So you have a lot of competition here.
Yeah, I mean, Keg, it was 2-0 for M80 last time, but M80 are on a rise. They're on fire. They knocked out the midseason cup champions of Oxygen to the lower bracket. That was such a good game.
Final?
Yeah, and I mean, look, if you were looking at the beginning of this season or even back at stage 1, anyone defeating Oxygen at all seemed like an impossibility. Having the swap in for Net, such a clear upgrade for M80. They've looked a lot more active and a lot more versatile on the server. And with them taking that 2-0 on some pretty basic maps like Ascent and Haven, it really tells me that M80, they've practiced every single map in the pool and they're ready for just about anything that any team can bring against them.
And Gompers, I mean, there's so many stars on
It's
M80.
crazy to think.
Like, we brought up already the Duelist matchup, and
yesterday
we're
was
trying
the
to find
event
new
for
people
Halo.
to highlight
Granted, it was only like 20,000 or something like that I was watching.
Out-fragging everyone in the
30,000.
stats, and he looks incredible.
Today there's 500 people watching on
For me, it's
Twitch.
I'm gonna say Koala
watching
Noob.
the playlist.
So far,
that is wild, bro.
Versatile.
Wild.
You know, I've seen them play the Sage. I've seen them play the Omen. But then again, they're playing the Yori. They're playing the Neon. They're playing all these agents that allow them to have that versatility and also be the best on the team on occasion when they really need Koala Noob to step up. And I think that is so admirable to be so trusted by your team.
Yeah, and to bounce off that too, M80, when they had that player swap towards the beginning of the season, people weren't sure about where M80 was going to land anymore. There was a lot of hopes for their old roster and into the new one.
It is kind of crazy to think that they went through the roster changes and are still like
they gave Net a little bit of
one of the best. Like they are like the best team in
America.
America.
For them to look probably at their literal best they ever have.
And speaking of hopes, Keg, one player in particular who wants to make a return to Ascension in partnership and is sounding very confident about his chances is Net.
Yeah, I mean, look, the quote speaks for itself. Net, he was there in the beginning for a little bit. He's gone back to M80. I'm glad he at least found a home again, somewhere within a very competitive side of Valorant. I've been watching Net since the beginning of Valorant time, and he's always been one of my favorite Senti players to watch. And him finding a home in M80 is great. But Lemon, I really wanted to see him back in partnerships.
One sec, chat.
I think it's super rewarding as well if you're Net in this position to, you know, not only be kicked off a team that had so much reputation because of whatever had happened, you know, at that time. I remember there was this big dispute. G2, a lot of the players finding homes, and obviously Net being put into a position where now they have to fight back for that. So right now it's very rewarding, but it's still not over, right? There's still this big battle of, will I make it? Oh my gosh, like I really want to fight hard for this. And I guess that's why M80, you know, great that they welcomed Net with open arms and gave them the opportunity to be in this position in the first place, because it's great. Net, such a great addition to M80, obviously proven themselves to be that sentinel player that can fill that role. So it's good for M80. I think they have such a good chance moving forward.
Yeah, and I mean, the sad thing is that Net's not on G2 anymore, but if you're a big G2 enjoyer, like, the good timeline would be them finding a lot of success at champs and then M80 making partnerships too, right? It's the best of both worlds for all the players that once were and are now on separate teams. That's what you're really aiming for.
Yeah, they're aiming for the top, and you saw in Net's quote how he has a lot of trust in his team, and they also really trust him. And how can you not trust someone like Net with the stats that he puts up? Keg, you pointed out just how valuable his Sentinel play is, how consistent it has been, and then a 50% clutch factor. Like, okay.
Yeah, no, Net is absolutely wild when it comes to the Senti roles. You know, it's definitely not the most flashy role in the world, but you've seen historically so many amazing players that have been the glue for legendary teams because of their Sentinel abilities. One thing that was desperately missing from M80 before they brought in Net was a lot of calling in their defensive sides. But as soon as Net came in, he was one of those primary callers for how to set up the big picture scenario for that defense. He was able to add that, again, the glue back together that M80 desperately needed.
And I think M80 have grown a lot. You talked about how we added Net at around, bro thinks she's on the team, but like they added Net in week 2, and Gompers, looking at the M80 stats growth from week 2 to now, it's been easy to incorporate Net.
Let me open up Wikipedia because I know I'm going to have questions at some point.
As a total, M80, when you're looking at their match history, they have not lost that many games. I believe it's 2 series, out of 8 throughout the whole entire series 2. So yeah, the first 2, it was a little rocky. It was quite difficult.
So Challengers America is one of the last ones to be finished, huh?
You know, that player that could really fill that role. But with a new team, the new player comes new dynamics, comes new comfort, and I think overall, like, people get really impatient, right? And that's the biggest issue, is like, just wait and see, because Net is a spectacular player, and we've been able to see that throughout M80, throughout the whole entire season, throughout the wins that they've been able to get, and now obviously coming up into this position now.
Yeah, and I think one thing a lot of people tend to not realize, because it's not an active stat in the server that you can see online, is that when M80 made their player swaps, they had to, like you said, Gompers, they had to change everything. They had to get a brand new IGL. They had to find a new co-IGL. All the roles internally, at least in terms of calling, had to change from M80. And if you watch those old VODs of when they had their old roster to now, you're going to see a complete difference in traction of how they attack different sites and how fast their executes have become. For Moist, they've had time to gel with the same calling structures, with the same players for a very, very long time.
Are they still rocking the same roster as last year?
And you saw in those stats, I know it's a lot of numbers and we're out of school right now, but the most important things we wanted to point out was the improvement of the defense, because
for the most part, it looks like
player that can really hold down a site by themselves. You saw like at least a 30% improvement in the defensive round wins for M80.
Rock, Vic, Fly, Amada,
which are a lot about team play, and as everyone is gelled together,
the newest player. They've still been around for a bit too.
For M80 in that regard, but they are going up against a team that doesn't just want to get Ascension, but demand to get into Ascension. Moist Shopify are on their redemption arc and hope to return to their peak from last stage. Gompers.
They want it bad, and that's the case for everyone, I'd say, but they have been that team that since Series 1, honestly, everyone was like, this team is crazy, absolutely incredible, unbeatable. And obviously, over time, everybody has been improving. Everybody has been fighting for that Ascension spot, and I think this team, they've been the one that has been the most consistent throughout. Yeah, they've had their ups and downs, but now really is the testament for that. It's the test against M80, right? The 2 teams that everyone was like, wow, this is crazy. They're the best teams within Challengers, whatnot. alongside obviously Ox.
We lost our casters.
We lost.
We lost Keely.
She was yapping, and then her internet just had to cut her out. But Keg,
they had to silence Gompers. She say too much.
She's enough. We had to take her out. But Keg, I mean, we could go on all day about how great this team is, and especially even Flya knew, like, he wants this result from last Ascension to be different, where they missed out on one match.
Yeah, no, I mean, you know, I think the big thing too about looking at the upper bracket of this, right, is that yes, both these teams have been great so far over the last few weeks, but if you go back to even like let's pick our day, right? End of May, there's a really good chance you would have seen a lot of criticism about both these teams online. Moist, they were having a really rocky beginning at times too in stage 1. M80, they were looking a little slow. One of their best maps, Icebox,
I think M80 was noticing some complacency to start, right?
Overall, but big turnarounds overall here, Lemon, and I'm very excited to see probably the best iteration of both these teams we've seen in about a year.
Absolutely. And Gompers clawed her way back from the internet heck to talk about Mata here.
The cyber demons tried.
It was so dark down there. I was talking about MXS and they pulled me. No.
Look how great Mata is. Like,
Mata is a great duelist, honestly. Looking at their stats, they kill it. And it's interesting. I'm hoping we do get to see like some interesting naps where Mata goes a bit, I'm not going to say out of comfort, because Reyna's probably really exciting to play for Mata, but I like Icebox, right? Interesting duelist trends that we've been seeing within Icebox and maybe Ascent, right? Or
chat, I am hungry.
I'm looking forward to seeing Mata play again. I think here especially, I feel like teams are now incorporating some very slight improvements, very slight differences, especially now that you can't be predictable in the late stage like this.
Yeah, and Koala Noob, Mata, I think the two best jets that we have in Challengers, but what I loved about Mata is he kind of brings out the Reyna every now and then, but only on Icebox, as you pointed out, and that continues to lead them to a flawless domination of Icebox every time they go there. But it's going to really come down to the maps of who is going to get their pick of the litter and what their strengths are.
I mean, look, last time it was Ascent Haven. I'm really hoping to see a little bit more complex maps this time around.
I hope so too. We did have some stats on like maybe the best maps and stuff, but we're just gonna wait for the map select to pop up. Oh, there we go. There are the map stats. So Keg, break this down to me. We have Ascent, Icebox, Lotus Split, and Sunset, some of the more popular maps these two teams have played.
So for Moist, their final map a lot of the time has been Sunset. If I'm them,
so is this best
I don't want to go there. I haven't won that map at all so far in the split. Definitely not where you want to go. But overall, in terms of every other map, I feel pretty comfortable going
Sunset
to
being left for the decider seems to be a very popular decision right now.
Setting new
like
strats.
on all levels.
This is the time where you're not wanting to save strats. You really want to win
this over M80
or vice versa. But also on top of that too, both these teams having a relatively similar map scoreline, right? You have a lot of opportunities to anti-strat each other. We could see a lot of brand new things. Let's say, hypothetically, Icebox does happen. We could see the Reyna. I'm wondering, okay, are you going to anti-strat that Reyna? Or are you going to bring out something equally as wacky, like say, I don't know, a deadlock on Icebox?
That would be fun, Gompers. And this is from the entire year. So although MXS may be undefeated on Icebox this stage, just this entire year has been good for them. Then looking at other maps like Split. Split's not in the lineup. We don't have to care about that. MXS really hope to avoid Sunset. Yeah,
Is this just the pool?
It's so strange. I feel like with everyone, it's like everyone has such different play styles and I don't know. Overall, like people have bad days. There's so many factors that go into what makes a map, you know, a team's best map.
I don't think we've actually done picks and bans yet, have we?
Et cetera, and who can really make that map excel. Which again, like Mata being really good on Icebox, playing into that Reyna role and stuff like that. I think it's always who can you set up for success. And for me, everybody here is. I just don't know. It's like I want to say so, but I don't, because I'm like, I know that something weird is coming out. Like it's in my gut feeling that like we're gonna see something interesting today, and I hope so.
I hope we see some really fun maps today, and let's go to our Blacklight map select to see where we end up. You guys saw the strengths, the weaknesses, and here's how the veto went. It started with an M80 veto on Bind, MXS veto Haven. M80 get to select their
All right, so we got Lotus, Icebox.
All right, Lotus, Icebox. So again, the Reyna possibility
Sunset
is there.
for
Maybe
the finisher.
We'll see some deadlock shenanigans. I think it's going to be very tough to look at previous footage for both these teams. If I were in their shoes, I'd be looking to bring out some brand new strats, something that can't be necessarily homeworked on with VOD review previously. A lot of anti-strats for other teams on that previous footage could be outdated. This is going to be one of the more wilder and more unpredictable matchups, Lemon.
Yeah, and Gompers, I mean, Lotus is going to be great for M80. I think they have almost an 80% win rate on that. And then Icebox, we just talked about that. Arena. Yeah. What do you think about the matchup of a Jet versus Arena if we expect to see Mata return on the Reyna again?
I think for Icebox, it's odd because M80 don't run Duelist on Icebox, and it's like when you're running against Arena, I feel like having a Duelist would be ideal because it really would give you some sort of like fragging advantage over Arena, whose literally main opportunity and main job is to frag. But I feel like that might also counter pretty well, right? Having, you know, that double controller of the Omen and the Viper, and then the double, I believe it's double initiator of the Gecko and the KO. So early information first on, you get to understand, hey, where is the Reyna? What are they planning here? Is there any precautions we need to take? And then they can adjust accordingly to that with the KO. With those suppressions and stuff. So I think for the Icebox, it's pretty fair matched. If Motic can play the way they've been playing and top frag, right, and just equal out that 20 plus kills, then I think it's going to be a pretty hard run for M80 here.
Yeah, if we see the scenario where there's a Reyna versus a team with no duelists, all the Reyna has to do is get a single pick, and hypothetically, even if they get traded out right after, they've won the round for their team. You have a glass cannon comp you're going up against where there's no duelist to have that buffer room to take those fights. You are getting rid of critical structures of your team's entire plan by just having a Reyna take you out, no matter what role you're looking at.
And then Sunset is our last pick, where MXS have a 0% win rate there, while as M80 have played it 6 times. It is a 50-50, but Keg, we got to see the Yoru on Sunset. What do you think about that?
I wish you'd take Icebox out of the pool.
Map, but
it's so boring.
Gonna be a high risk,
we're guaranteed it too.
Where you need to be able to coordinate with that Yoru and the rest of your team to find maximum value. Thing is, though, is that if those gate crashes become predictable and you on the enemy team know exactly where the teleports are going to be coming in from, you've already lost a lot of value off of that Yoru. The only thing you can rely on from there is his dimensional drift, and that only comes out every few rounds.
I'm excited to see if we're going to even go to Sunset, because I don't get to see Yoru on Sunset too much. It is our last map, and Lotus and Icebox, it's going to hold a lot, but this chair could also hold a lot. I'm sitting on a blacklight, by the way, because, man, when I need to go horizontal, when I need to lock into some games, blacklight, know that high-quality equipment means high-quality games. So shout out to our sponsor, Blacklight, for making this all happen. And, well, we should go into the agents very, very soon, and we're beginning on Lotus. What are your expectations, Gompers, for our first game?
First game, man, I feel as though we haven't necessarily seen these teams square up on Lotus. I'm not sure.
Tell us what you think, Gompers. What are we getting?
Kind of gotten, especially recently, a very, very slower approach to the way they handle things now that they've stopped implementing the duelist for some of their maps, and also just trying to take a step back, I feel, and be more strategic with their play. For me, I think that's taken them a step further, especially, again, like we talk about the addition coming through with Net and seeing how that works out. Net constantly lurking, right? Gathering that extra source of information for the slow plays. Hey, okay, it's not working over there. Let's go back. I think for Lotus, especially with that being like that three site map. Hello?
3 map thing.
I think it should work with that slow pace for M80 here.
Well, our agent select is ready. Let's take a look, because Keg, I'm especially excited to see if M80 are gonna rerun the deadlock.
Got the Cypher on either side,
and that's what we're getting.
That is a very
basically the difference is the Sage for Viper, or yeah, Sage for Viper. No, yeah, Sage for Viper.
They kind of just cooked.
No?
I don't know.
I assume
no duelist from the start. Again, this team is super, super slow. So when you're looking at this, it's like, okay, there's no surprise to that, but I think this is such a great shutoff from Mata, because now you're going to force Mata to use his blast packs, especially
get to see some deadlock on Lotus, huh?
This is like as bad as it gets to, okay, the defense hold's going to be great, but how are they going to handle that on the attack is pretty much my main concern.
Well, a lot of concerns, a lot of hopes, but only one of these teams can make Ascension in our upper finals of Challengers. So let's get into the game, and I'm going to send it over to our casters.
Let's get into it.
Hey. Thank you very much, Jen, and great to hear from the desk here, because Wyatt, like has been clearly established, there are a huge amount of stakes on this game. And in fact, for many of these players, the most important game they will play all year.
I love those glasses for Wyatt, man.
They're just trying to get back to Ascension. They made it last year, came up just short because of their now teammate Net playing with the guard at the time. He's joined up with them. He's trying to run it back. And this time, they're actually trying to qualify for partnership. And the way they've been playing recently, they're now making me believe that they can do it. They have gotten so much better.
Who we feeling here, chat?
As these weeks have gone on in stage 2. It was slow to start, but I think Ned has really integrated himself into this roster well.
Yeah, I mean, they are looking incredible, and M80 have been a team that have never been afraid to try something a little bit different. This is a great example of that. No, it's not the first time we've seen this triple Sentinel composition for M80, and in fact, they obviously tried to roll it out, not so long ago in that, very, very important matchup against Oxygen, which didn't quite go their way, but it was a very close affair. They're going to be starting on the attack side here now, though, so they have a chance to show off how fearsome this setup looks in the post plant.
In that game against Oxygen, starting on defense, it was a situation in which they just went down by so much that even though you're making a comeback happen, trying to actually make the comeback a reality is so difficult in this game with ultimates, etc. But now that they're starting on attack, their favored side, we'll see if they can just get off to a really strong lead.
So they didn't talk about BCJ at all, huh?
Over towards Mount.
No love from a homie?
Still implying maybe a player had pushed up.
Sad,
and only now are M80 throwing the counter one way to try and at least keep Mata in place. And they're creeping up over here towards A.
Trying to work off a little bit of the space the Net had gotten, but after that jump spot, Koala's going to put the wall down, and the attack is going to come in fast.
Yeah, Tree going to get a little hot and heavy here. Vic taking contact, already brought Xander down, but it ends up being a 1-for-1. Odorous here more than happy to challenge on the side, and that's a beautiful swing. Yes, he's caught inside the seas. He's gone for 2 more. Unreal, Odorous. 3 off the pistol. And that's a beautiful start for MXS on a half. They really need to stack some rounds up.
Oh, well done. Some lovely anchoring from Odorous. The once coach for this squad, now player as of this year. Going to have to be consistently playing like this, hitting shots like this to prove why he's in this position.
Nasty, bro.
It's definitely been the lightning rod of some criticism.
Like nothing like fancy or super flary, but like
some
to be able to pull that off, they know where you're at. You're seized.
At his best this year, but hot way to start for him.
In the past, he was a Viper player on this map. His role has changed a little bit here on MXS. Once more, Odorous wants to come forward and get that cam set up. Over towards Rubble. He does get that for free, as Xander had hoped to put some pressure down. And one flick of this cam is going to tell all.
So what would happen with MXS if they were to get through Ascension? Because it's 2 orbs.
But not
surely they wouldn't allow that in partners, right?
Only
like partnership.
Side right now.
I guess you're not technically in partners if you're just in the league.
There's going to be a horn for an at the left-hand side again. Odorous from virtually the same spot here. Able to find 2 from drop, and Flyer held his ground as well. That's MXS finding those 2 rounds. Such an important pistol to get on the defense side of Lotus.
An attacker-sided map for sure. Odorous already getting very close to that ultimate now as well.
Let me turn off my...
Matter of fact, he's already got it. That is pretty wild. Pure bonus for MXS. They've basically been dealt no damage. Last round, Fly lost in armor.
All right. MXS here with that lead, and of course, like you said, a pure bonus. A great opportunity to start to build that bank a little bit more.
All right, so Net finds an opening.
A little bit of an ill-fated start to the round. Just swinging a little bit too wide over towards Mound. And
Flyer's playing kind of ballsy.
A long way. Flyer goes to check it here. M80 a great start here now on a gun round. They must win. Viper ball thrown up, and of course you can take that cheeky little position on top as Koala Noob. And we are going to set up that post-plant utility already. There's still, of course, that presence.
They're all depth, going to give him a little bit of extra information here.
This barrier orb that you're seeing from Koala that he just scaled into topside off of, you will see over and over when it comes to the M80 C-site execs. Mixing up sometimes, you know, will they be
all right, 3v5 on the retake
wall? Will they just be using it as protection to cross? Just conditioning MXS a bit, keeping them worried, keeping them aware that they could be swung from that angle at any time. Nice way to mix things up.
Great slow orb on top of Marty. You were stunned up as well. Able to at least bring the horn down. In a very vulnerable position, but Brook's able to help him out from the other side of the site. In comes Marta, charges forward. He actually ran into the sonic sensor.
3v3 is doable, especially if Marta can turn this corner.
They're still on this retake attempt, but both M80 players are standing out over towards Mound. It's going to be a tough nut to crack here. And Marta, frankly, does not have the time.
Nope.
M80 get themselves on the board here. Marta's going to have to walk away. But in terms of econ damage, not a terrible bonus for MXS.
Yeah, I mean, you get 3 rifles out of hands for MXS, right? You lose the round, but you do some pretty good econ damage. I think it's, I mean, you'll take that.
It could be relatively easy to take, and with the comp that they've got, the defenders' mission to get back into the site when you're going up against multiple walls that you have to break, slow orbs, sonic sensors, you're just going through the, you know, wading through the mud. You cannot move at a fast pace whatsoever. It is so obnoxious for the defenders in that situation.
Here come M80 all grouped up. That horn instantly popped. Still notice that Marta, I think, getting in a position, not quite there. It was actually Vic, the one that was trending over towards Rubble, all too slowly. I don't think at that point MXS are ready for any sort of numbers out from M80 there, and they're just walking up on him, Wyatt.
That might have even punished their Nismo so fast to get off of the orb. A fantastic mechanical player. But you're absolutely correct. This is what M80 do with this comp on attack. They're very slow. They play silently. They contact around the map a lot. And just going for your own, you know, contact plays, walking forward, you might just run into several players.
Wyatt gets one.
Putting the wall up to try and survive, but tough to get
Remember,
out of.
They made the last round relatively expensive. Can they do it again?
I thought he was done. I thought that was a free kill for M80. Somehow Flyer gets away with it. No, now will be walled inside that A site, and Net will hang around. Now Flyer can't safely remove that wall without the threat of Net just swinging and taking him down instantly. He'll have to go the long way around on this rotate. And on the other side of things, it is Otoshima sat on C, who does not look inclined to intervene whatsoever.
No, at this juncture, fully expecting a save from the remainder of the MXS side. They're definitely going to learn their lesson from this round, be more weary of pushing deep in situations like that, because M80 will be biding their time. They will play very slowly, wait out the defensive aggression, capitalize off of it, punish people moving forward.
And this is something to look out for in the future as well, Wyatt. M80 are one of the best post-plant teams we have in NA Challenges right now. Second only to Oxygen with 81% win rate if they can get that spike down. And that is quite that far exceeds, I guess, the rest of their cohorts here as well, with, you know, teams like Glim only like 65% here. So on a map like this, if they're happy to walk up, and, you know, that probably is helped by the fact that they run this triple sentinel setup. But if MXS let them in, they're in for a bad time. And already this buy does not bode well for this round for the defenders.
No, not at all. Nismo has the Annihilation prepped and ready to go as well if necessary to find an easy man advantage somewhere, even the odds. Xander just trying to get some information as to what's going on A, aware that there was a large push down from players there, and due to that, M80 feel more than comfortable just working their way into B quickly, taking all this space, putting up both walls. Have fun retaking.
Brook was just out of range of that Annihilation there, but the smoke over towards Baby Door is a big problem for defenders typically. Could have been a one-way, could have been worse, but still Brock doesn't opt to challenge it. Nismo there who's ready with the grab net. That's going to be deployed now, followed up by the Paranoia. Nobody is getting out of that room for the time being. Slow Orb also deployed here.
BCJ's got to hold this down.
BCJ is straight chilling. We're going to get some attention from the Link side, though, as a Paranoia coming across the B side entirely. The BCJ on the move's able to find at least one. Brock's going to have to be quick about this here now as Xander happily faces Vic and Flyer down, respectively. It's just Otoshima once more, and his timing from upper is just not there. And that's 3 in a round for M80.
And even
3 in a row.
By the time MXS are trying to get into the site, the spike is ticked so low. That was their save, though. They will be back onto a full buy at this point, on the cusp of a few critical ultimates. Mata one away from that showstopper. Brock nearing the nightfall as well. And his counterpart on the opposite side, BCJ, the other Fade, has his ready. So this could be a pretty explosive round with a lot on the line for MXS. Economy hanging in the balance right now.
Important gun round for the defenders, to be sure. Xander gets out over the TP across here. Definitely mindful of some of that util.
Face your fear!
And here comes that. Okay, here comes that Nightfall already open towards the A side of the map here. And now, M80 know there's a couple players tucked here over towards Baby Door. But they don't really extend any further into this part of the map. They're going to back away after smoking the door itself. It's unclear what Vic has heard there from Tree, but all of M80 cut noise and pull out. This is an important piece of contact here for Flyer, and he sees everything he needs.
Yeah, those defenders, Fly especially, a lot of poking and prodding deep, trying to get information, just jiggling some of these corners. Vic in a nice little position here, tucked around the box.
Well, seen a lot of kills defensively from that position, and Brock is no exception. Xander gets picked off, and now it's up to BCJ in that 1 versus 4, and there it is for MXS. Find great success here, not overextending on that A side of the map.
Now beautifully handled on the site, and their star duelist comes up massive again. I mean, seeing exactly why Mata is far and away the statistical leader in challengers right now during the playoffs, was during stage 2. I mean, he's putting up 1.07 kills per round. Like, the next highest is like 0.88 in the playoffs. Like, the difference is monumental.
I mean,
between him and everybody else right now.
He leads everybody else by at least 50 ACS. Just for the playoffs,
that's
he's at
crazy.
301. That is absurd. M80, rather, don't usually put a star player forward, right? Sometimes they play without a duelist entirely. Very different styles from these teams here. Double cage thrown up there. Those were one-ways, of course, for Otoshima, but he's going to be caught in a grab there and unable to capitalize off the tripwire. That just revealed a player. BCJ, though, gets a little bit aggressive now as all of M80 start to
They're stuck
like
in this corner. They have nowhere to go.
And this is good. The 4th defensive round here for MXS is just what the doctor ordered, especially against this triple set.
MXS doing a really good job of shutting down M80 on the offensive side.
M80 on that C side.
Love the delay from MXS, and then
especially with that being the stronger side for M80.
Focused on fighting the players that were on top of that wall, and you can see how that just split the M80 attack effort in two. There were the 3 players that were on the low ground trying to round the stairs that just couldn't assist the 2 on top of the barrier orb. MXS picked them apart, split them in half. Well done by the defending side, who were retaining that lead. M80, this comp was so good on attack against Oxygen. MXS can put up a good half here. Great prospects for their chance of victory on this map.
Orb control taken here. Koala Noob getting close to that first res. A player who's been really quiet on this map so far, but obviously went absolutely bonkers.
They had us in the first half type activity. He went as soon as legitimately 50% of the way through their last game. He went nuclear. I mean, on map 2, the second half, and then the third map, went 39 and 10 playing Yoru across those 2, which is just insane. Took him a bit to get in the game, but when he arrived, god damn, that was one of the best performances I've seen all year in Challengers.
Right now, of course, he is on that Sage role. Less ability to be the aggressor. Okay, Vic sees a lot of this U2 coming in. He might have to get out. And he will fall back to that A site entirely. With the smoke towards Baby Door, MXS are going to be priced into playing for a retake here. unless Vic opts to try and ask for something.
Buys time enough for the rotation over from
can be played off from stairs here,
but here
to break the wall, and that gives away the plan. Now M80 have got themselves into the B side of Flyer. You better get ready to crash.
They gotta move quick.
You're gonna get busy. Nicely done. Two already to fall.
Yeah,
now Murray can be the other side of the pincer. Nismo somehow was able to find.
He's gonna get absolutely cleaned up once they moved into
MXS have those 5 defensive
in through door
rounds.
there. Like you just gotta move.
Precious to pick those up here.
What gorgeous rotations from MXS there. The utility from everybody was just perfectly timed. I love Vic being so prepped for, again, M80 with that late rubble re-clear that they love to go to. Gets the info, teleports off, and the rest of the team are rotating to assist. They immediately break that barrier orb on stairs to allow the flank through baby door.
Like once you're in A link there, like you cannot stay, especially if you're bunched up that much. You got pushed away off A.
This team is
like
really
you have to expect them to be
right
flanking there.
Here it is, you can play off this as well. The annihilation could be a problem, but at least Marta's there to potentially break this. It's going to be awkward though. Brook gets drawn around the corner, and ultimately, it's a freebie there for M80.
Wow.
That one has got to hurt.
Poor guy. There's just nothing he can do. Another MXS side will be starved for a little bit of information.
I know
as that initiator goes down. Well-timed neural theft from Net, which is going to allow M80 to work their way up A for free. The smoke is going to go downstairs, and off that, they'll accelerate into the site. Vic totally smoked off.
Tried to drop with the Omen.
You see Vic? No, Vic gets one.
Spot, but Vic's still able to find one. Might be able to play off of a paranoia here, and so he does.
He should have taken this down, right? Surely.
Another player looking at the raise, and now Vic has to wait for some of this to clear. He and Flyer grouped up at the top of drop.
Surely, right?
Omen ult there from Xander.
30 seconds left.
Oshima won a duel over towards Rubble as Koala Noob doesn't know where to
Turned
look.
away at the wrong time.
The side, just trying to delay right now. Help out Xander, who's crossed the map entirely, planted on C.
He still has to fight Oshima though, and he's waiting for him. Koala Noob at least keeps a couple of players over at A, keeps them interested in what's happening. But Xander gets a pretty straightforward plant. It's unclear how much info this neural effect is going to give because Xander can obviously TP around after the fact. And he'll be back up on the box. Sees one. Opts not to go for the finish there on Flyer. And eventually Flyer comes for him. 6 rounds here for MXS.
All right, so how much of a lead can they build themselves on the defensive side against a like offensive like
finding 2 quick kills before
team
that rotate
when it comes to Lotus?
with the Omen ult.
Plus, this is M80's pick as well.
Just playing with this fantastic team decisiveness right now. Vic is so confident in that scenario over on A that despite being smoked off on stairs, then he goes to heaven, smoked off on heaven, goes to drop right there, finds that first kill onto Nismo, is ready to fight despite having to rotate, despite being spotted heaven, because
Boys
he knows
literally finished 3 and 3.
That paranoia came in, Mata dropped down instantly. The rotates are so fast, they're playing so confident. The confidence they have in each other is clearly on display. This is such a better MXS than we've really seen legitimately all year. It's been so tumultuous for them. Like, they've had good showings, no doubt, but they've never had an amazing showing yet.
I mean, again, they were mid-table in stage 2. Like, I mean, they lost to SAD, I think, at the start of June, I want to say. And then their stage 2 has been pretty up and down, right? Wins against TSM and Fluffy Aimers. They managed to take, obviously, Blinn down more recently to sort of get into a game like this. But yeah, we definitely had concerns about where this team was going. This is an MXS who, you know, neither half of this Moist or Shopify conglomerate were able to reach for those high heights.
And now we got a technical pause.
We are not talking about teams that are returning to have another crack at Ascension. They never had the chance last time. So it'll be their first opportunity to make it there. And in a round like that we just saw, not only does, you know, Nismo get a free kill with the Annihilation, but they also res Net back up and insert him in such a frustrating position. Really, it looked like a great start for M80. But why MXS are anchoring like this because they do not want to go to post plant. They know they have to fight M80 up front. Yeah. They have no choice.
You're correct. You are
so
absolutely
Moist is
correct.
5-0 in stage 1.
One of the primary mistakes that you're seeing teams make against these.
So they just had a shitty second split. Second split is like literally a roller coaster. Up, down, up, down, up, down.
Flood them before the barriers go
They've
down.
gotten hot in playoffs, though.
Playoffs to deny the retake. You have to play active, aggressive, and take the fight to the attackers. And we're seeing MXS do that on every single round. They are really impressive right now.
I mean, even like a good example is like Vic.
I just hope we can win a game.
Rubble once the pop starts to come in from M80, right? But he doesn't go to upper. Like he sits on the site and is ready to play off his teammates that like 2 up coming downstairs. So even though he's like getting out of dodge, they realize that they still have to fight. Like it's more of a push-pull than a complete abandonment and being forced into retake. I think it's hard to play this way because you are getting priced into fighting so much.
Man.
Obviously a
oh man
to put yourself in, but they've got no choice.
Oh. Well, what do we want to do here, chat? What are we doing?
Immediately sent out to deny B. The haunt goes over A. Wasn't broken, didn't spot anyone. And still it's Odashima just
M80 takes a timeout. Do we think they come out here, though, and follow that up? Do they get that nice little timeout buff?
I guess this Viper's Pit gives you a bunch of options, right? You can...
They definitely ain't pushing into that Viper's Pit, that's for sure.
You can also, you know, come a bit further forward here over towards, you know, B main as the Viper player.
Well, ain't no sense in that at all, you know?
And finally, you can funnel them to one of the extremities. Which
no, thank you.
The latter one definitely seems to be the main plan here. And that's why so much of the map has been given up there by Mata. 3 players grouped up in B, though, for MXS. They could go anywhere.
So I made his plan here. They take that C control, get BCJ and Orb. He's nearing that Nightfall. And then they insert Net into Mound. Keep that space. And then they fake like they're going to pivot towards A. But the thing is, MXS, do they want to pop out of this? Do they want to crunch M80 and fight with Odashima when they're hitting sight?
Here comes the paranoia.
Nice one.
It's gonna be Xander caught first there. Completely nearsighted by Vic.
They're just caught here.
Oh,
they're completely caught.
Even further over to Mound. It ends up being his
they got back out towards spawn. Or they're just gonna push through and try and go towards B. You'd still have to deal with the Viper's Pit that way. You don't have much time. You have to try and shove this into C here.
There's no time left in the round, and he's looking to see what he can get. But 7 defensive rounds here for MXS, who've downloaded M80 and are finding success against this triple sentinel.
That was another fantastic round from MXS. So prepped for that return to C. And then
that's wild.
You know, they can pivot towards A, fight through Baby Door. They were rotating towards that side of the map very quickly. Mata had already pushed up and gotten a lot of
crazy, man.
On that side too. So they felt pretty comfortable just staying focused towards front B, being able to pivot for that C fight.
Which makes me wonder as far as when they get over to the offensive side.
Of what M80 are doing at the moment. This is their full buy though. BCJ.
What are they going to be able to do? You know what I mean?
I have to imagine he's going to go collect that orb. They're going to attempt to hit the site off of it. The C execs were the bread and butter against Oxygen. Only so far worked 1 time against MXS right now.
Trying to go fast here, Flyer briefly nearsighted, but mostly unbothered. He won't be able to return over towards Waterfall here as the slow orb got dropped at his very feet. But Odashima is able to find 2 from Halls. Mata and Brook have the option here to rotate and try and get someone on that part of the map, and it looks like they are sending Brook there. And they're not going to bother to try and break that barrier for the time being. Might be a group up here behind the remaining utility of the defense.
He's going to send 3 straight around, huh?
Paranoia to play with.
All just going to try to pool out of Halls here. Kuala Lumpur, no slow orbs, so they can just get out pretty freely. Mata going so deep, straight into the sonic sensor, but Nismo can't swing, just finds it in time.
Hold on.
Hold on. Net now, the 1 player left here for the attackers, opting to move in. And there it is, Brock gets brought down. And Vic will be...
That's an expensive round for M80 though. Like, yeah, you want it, but at what cost?
MXS though, into a bit of a retake. They eventually got shoved off the site.
I mean, few and far between have been the rounds where we get to see the intentions of this M80 comp on display. That was finally a moment where we got it, where that barrier orb was up, cutting off the right side of sight, where the barrier mesh goes down to cut off Waterfall, the sonic sensors for stairs, etc., actually paying off. Like that is what this comp is all about. And MXS had been more than prepared for it on the majority of these rounds so far.
I must wait a moment.
It's just not easy to do that without a flash really in your composition. You don't have great exec util. M80 really had to drag themselves onto that site and throw down. So now they've shown us they can go for that fast hit every now and then. It feels like something with a triple sentinel composition that MXS can adjust to relatively easily. The smokes over towards B here, and with that Prowler thrown in, yes, a couple of players from MXS will be enticed to check it out.
Vic going to continue cycling the one-way smokes over towards A, and with BCJ, occupied towards B. You know, there's no Prowler to try and re-clear, get out over towards A, so they've just totally given up that space, M80. Now working into an actual B hit, it looks like, trying to contact. Slowly just worked their way in. Great entry kill. Fly on is lonesome.
I think they're done without a flash is beyond me. Just this random wide swing that catches Mata out. And now we're throwing down again. Fly here from upper trying to make it happen. Otoshima, though, within the smoke, doesn't see. Knows he's able to bring Xander down regardless. It's up to Net here in that 1 versus 2. And M80's starting to run out of gas a little bit here. There is a chance for something beautiful. These last couple of moments.
No! He shoved to the smoke!
Then Otoshima approximately will be sat in that dark cover. A stunning Zippo clutches again. M80 just throw themselves at the B side.
What is that? Again, MXS were playing that so well.
What?
It was a rapid into the site, taking the fight.
Can we get a replay?
And then Net just comes up with an unreal clutch. Heads up with the spray control.
This is a nice spot.
Nicely done from the new addition to this team, trying to make it back to Ascension. Net really started slow on this roster. When we go back to early on stage 2, the team was struggling, but not only has the team really come into its own as we've gotten into the playoffs, but so has Net individually has been leaps and bounds better than those first few weeks with the team.
And he's gonna have to try and bring this thing back.
Crucially, White, 7 defensive rounds were picked up for MXS there. It certainly bodes well on Lotus, which under normal circumstances would be an attacker-sided map. VCT wants to step up here. They knew they'd caught Flyer with that seize. Here's the Prowler to check this now, and he's still caught in the grab net. Didn't have a chance to bend down. Rip that off of him. Oh, I love this. The barrier comes down, and Mata is, in theory, caught. But he's more than happy to take a fight. Guanu really hoping to punish this a little bit. Just gets up on rubble. Still 4 players in there for MXS, though. They can regroup and shrug this off.
They still got time to figure out if they want to push on to A here as well.
Mata just needs a flopper now to get back to full HP after getting out of that.
They should know they've got the man advantage still.
So silly. They're just waiting out Koala's barrier orb now. He might get overrun in the moment. Brock still has another Prowler, a Haunt. Great pieces of utility for re-clearing rubble.
Worth noting as well, the Viper comp here for MXS means you have access to this lurk wall. You can always keep people at this A side of the map. However, Koala Noob saw everything he needed to. This is definitely going to draw Xander now over towards Baby Door. Otoshima's hoping to capitalize on exactly that. Beautifully done. Another great ghost round. Another great pistol for MXS, who have the lowest pistol win rate of any Challengers team in these playoffs. So they're going to go 2-0 for this map, which is exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah, that is wild, isn't it? A team that has won both of their games so far in convincing fashion. Lowest pistol round win rate in the playoffs currently. Compared to the teams that are eliminated. Listen, Net has been insane, but this would be on a totally different level.
Again, it makes us know exactly what to do. It's a well-drilled protocol to send someone wide.
I feel like this, for the first map, just kind of sets the tone for what we're going to see the rest of the series.
In theory, it's supposed to be an attacker side.
Not gonna lie, man.
Back and forth a little bit on this. We tend to feel that like, the M80 comp is supposed to be at its best on the attack side, providing they can get those post plants. But how do you feel now with MXS having a 3-round lead and having won that pistol?
I mean, based on what I saw from M80 playing on this map previously with this comp, their defense felt very disconnected compared to their attack. It seemed like players that were anchoring sites together had differing ideas of whether they were trying to hold the site steadfast, fight together, or fall off, play for retake situations. It just seems like there wasn't a consistent idea among the players when they were holding together. We'll have to see if the synergy has improved a bit since that last showing today. I mean, for their sake, it's going to have to improve. MXS look phenomenal right now.
They are taking up residence here of Mount. The M80 don't want to give them anything. They don't have a great way to get info with this composition outside of that singular scan initiator of BCJ. Down under a minute in the round, of that lurk wall has allowed Flyer to get right up here. Net, they'll be watching that cross with the camera, very standard positioning for this. So there'll be a fight there momentarily. Paranoia thrown over at that C site here, but MXS don't really look to push behind it. But what side is it going to be? It might be an A. Quick rotate across there. As Flyer has gotten himself in with the barrier mesh over at B. That's not an option. So now MXS have got to be quick.
Yeah, the only issue is that
they just had such a long rotation too. They're gonna be so committed here.
Pretty fast.
And like M80 here, they're gonna be all on that backside of A.
They are still beating them to the punch. Maybe if they catch fire here, and they do, they can get into sight. But no, Brock with that angle with the Fender looking fantastic. The rest of the players swing in for support, and M80 go down. It wasn't as clean as their anti-eco in the first half, but they still get across the finish line with the rifles retained, the Vandals carried over, and that's certainly what's most important for them.
You see how much they respect, though, what M80 can do on an eco round like that with this triple sentinel setup. They don't take any undue risks there, and in theory, MXS could have gone B via baby door there, but that flyer kill gave them the confidence to push in further on that site. So now we have a buy up here for M80. But all the weaponry they could ask for. Let's see what this comp can do on defense. Gonna have to be something to get them out of this hole.
They're trying to just jiggle towards Mound, pushed off immediately by some initiator utility as the Sage is used to control A. This is a very typical setup for M80 on defense. Crucial gun duel to win for Xander. Giving M80 that man advantage, stabilizing things, as there was a lot going on across the map early.
It is huge, right? That first pick defenders on Lotus makes you feel far less stretched across the map. And Otajima just took a straight up fight there with the Bulldog. Marty going to be spotted here outside the C site, though. I think Net has basically seen it all at this point. Bombardier going to be thrown in there. Will attract some attention, but the spike has not been committed yet. This is still a default. And I don't really know if Fire's seen nearly enough. He took a huge hit, I think, trying to push up on that A side, so count that one out. It's got to be C or B.
And they have access on B if they want.
Just breaking that wall just so M80 have to pay some amount of attention to B. Can't just forego looking at it in its entirety.
30 seconds left.
No pressure on the defenders whatsoever.
Oh man, they're gonna have to wait until they're all in here.
I was talking about the synergy that I need to see improve from M80. A lot of it is Nismo and Net on C. They felt very disconnected against Oxygen. Differing ideas from the two of them.
Good grab net timing there though, Wyatt. That has definitely flowed MXS up. They've had to back away, but the TP came across there from Vic. He's on the site. Xander able to see Fire go across, but can't connect with him at all. It's a very low health Viper that eventually drops, but Vic's able to play off of Xander and make use of the teammate getting brought down there. We have a 2v2. Oh no! No time!
They didn't get the time.
You hate to see it.
Barely.
How close was that? Because literally it sounded like it went down like right after.
Barely ran out of time.
What could be more MXS than that at times? Meticulous.
They can be very, very meticulous. Though I will say in their last game they played against Blinn, their pace was actually blistering, which shocked me because typically they are a very slow attacking team. And against this comp, you're going to have to play slow. You're going to have to do your due diligence, breaking the walls, figuring out where those tripwires will be so you don't wander into them, die getting sprayed through a smoke on your site exec. You don't want to lose players to anything like that, and you need to deny that passive information. There's a lot of little things that need to be done as the attackers going up against such a util-dense defensive comp.
They might really took control of that mound side of the map there. We do see the counter one-way thrown out by MXS. And they will fall off that more advanced position. We might actually see a burst of speed here for MXS, much unlike the previous round.
Bro, Net chilling.
In front of Net. And he sees it, plays off the trip beautifully. It's going to be Victor fall first, and Net somehow gets away with his life.
He's a magician.
Provoke to move over towards the B side of the map, but Neatsmo's able to catch them out with a grab net. This slows Brock up. He is nearsighted and tethered to the ground, and somehow Marta wins it out, but the damage he took in order to get out of that situation means that he's basically an on-factor here. He can fall back with a spike. Flyer is healthy enough, but it's just two players for MXS. And M80 is starting to claw back into this game.
30 seconds left.
Amada's the only player that I think could somehow still find a way to win that duel. Just a little adjustment with the movement. A couple steps to the left, and a nice shot on to Nismo. Regardless of that kill from Mata, though, the utility combo on the fly from M80 there was lovely. The
10 seconds left.
Gravnet synced up with the Paranoia to completely stifle that B pivot. Allowed Nismo to find that kill, but in its entirety really just shut down the hit. Anyhow, very nicely done from M80.
2-round difference.
Already looking a little bit more competent on their defense than against Oxygen.
And it wasn't all that elaborate, right? Net simply plays off a trip over towards A main. And then, of course, you have that util combo thrown into Baby Door, like you pointed out. That's all it took for M80. Really well drilled. Something you'd pointed out, of course, is that perhaps they looked a little disjointed, disconnected on their defense sides in the past. But these little util combos we've seen over the last couple of rounds, both involving Nismo to some degree, have been really tight.
Yeah, and Vic really does succumb to what can happen against this comp when you opt to play a bit more quickly. You know, they take that rubble control and really try to accelerate off the back of it. And you are going to be running into trips, running into sonic sensors when you're doing that because you just haven't taken the time to clear everything out. And obviously, you know, there's so much to look out for. You also have to make sure your crosshair is placed to shoot defenders. There's just so much you have to be aware of against this comp. You really have to be very cerebral, especially when going for the faster maneuvers like they did in that round. But out of the timeout here, a round of some serious significance. Koala Noob is yet to really make his mark on the server. Perhaps the operator will change that around for him. That is his go-to weapon when he can afford it. A lot of ultimates in play at the moment here as well. Very crucial round 17.
He's going to get busy though on this part of the map. There are 3 players creeping up for MXS. With the
podcast
cam, and now they force Koala Noob off the angle. Then it's an operator player sat inside B. So a bunch of map controllers just gone over to MXS. At a really crucial juncture, but it was Fire that got caught out. Over towards the A side. No lurk this round for the Viper.
Yeah, that was just Nismo swinging from sight and doubling up with BCJ. Finding that early pick. Mata gets a lot of space. Opshots go awry. Oh, Koala Noob, you need to fear, my friend. Mata is in so deep into heaven right now. Showstopper as well could turn the tides.
Paranoia also thrown over towards Upper. Mata hoping to capitalize, but the Showstopper pulls up a little bit short. Prowler confirms the position of the Rays in case you needed that. And now I may have a chance to try and encircle here. That's a smoke over towards Baby Door here. Annihilation didn't catch on to anything at all, though. We've got multiple MXS players caught up inside Baby Door. Can they get out? Brock, though, what a timing. Catches Xana as he moves out of the smoke. There's 3 players up on that spike for M80. Nismo able to bring Brock down. And that wall is a problem for Vic and Mata. They have to get through, and they run out of time. Another round up here for M80. And they managed to get this retake behind all of this Sentinel utility.
Koala Noob just saving that wall for the retake is exactly what M80 needed, cutting off Baby Door.
My legs
They're looking
shot.
much better at controlling the B and A sites right now. And against Oxygen, that's really not where they were being tested. It was on C, where Redux double satcheling in really deep was opening that site up, creating a lot of space. On the other sides of the map, they're looking a lot more competent, though. Impressive so far from M80 getting back into the game.
Another stack here for MXS. Was that B main? M80 though, this time have brought a couple of extra players. While that operator is headed to the C side of the map. Nice cam use there for Otoshima though. To reveal one of those defenders, probably sees at least 2 of them. And that smoke will herald the end of that little exchange towards B.
Looking to see what Brock will do with the Nightfall this round. As MXS taking their time, waiting to get that haunt placed on the cliffside to retake. Mound, a lot of noise made. Spraying the Vandals.
They're trying to find out where the Sage is, I think. They know that operator's still at large.
Going into, at the very least, drag BCJ towards the C site.
Okay, we should get some operator contact here for Koala Noob, and again, the Prowler would have pushed him off the angle. He actually gives it up anyway, but is able to repost. Swings wide. He knows there's a raise in that corner, though, but again, Koala Noob basically being played around by MXS. No chance really to get a good angle there with that operator, and then again has the standard camera spot.
The clock right now, there's 20 seconds left. They ran it down so low, and now they're trying to get it to B with a Nightfall.
Got to be here, but Xana takes contact
at least a little bit of entry.
Better.
They should feel confident to be able to plant with this.
Does punish a play that was inside door, and Xana can now come in and fill up that position.
Oh.
Brook, 2 out in the
Damn,
open.
it's tied up, chat.
Here, and MXS have let another round slip through their fingers like the sands of bloody time.
Just when it felt like MXS had a nice start to this map,
on
too.
That round. I'm looking at the minimap, asking at 30 seconds or so, where the hell are we finishing? They're still sat in a 3-1-1. They had Fly all the way inserted on A towards tree. I think trying to keep their options open that they could pivot back, but a decision wasn't really made particularly early. And then they go into B where they can go for a 4-1, have Fly on that late lurk, but deciding to do that, they just left themselves with absolutely no time.
Qualanu may not have the mobility to get out of here after taking the shot. Yeah, back behind the slow orb it has to be. Throws at the wall. And he does escape with his life.
That's one
solid.
way to do it.
Vic absolutely furious. They weren't able to capitalize, and then he himself gets caught as well because Qualanu had fallen back to the seaside. And this is MXS. This is their money starting to run dry. Next round is going to be awkward for the map best. VCJ just holds it down for the boys on B-side. And it will be up to Mata with a ridiculous spray transfer required.
And now M80 has the lead. 3 more rounds left. They take their map.
M80 are running away with this defense completely.
What was it, like 7-3?
With the
7-2
previously. Economy broken for MXS. A bank of ultimates for M80 as we get to the end of this game. And again, listen, it takes Koala a little bit to get into the games, evidently, but when he does, he's a damn solid player.
You know, I understand if it's like Omen, right? Obviously, Jet, you know, can get a free shot and get out. Omen can TP away. The stage, though, is a little bit harder. He had to use a lot of his util to get out there, throwing up the wall. But the fact that Vic TP's forward and still looking for a way to get in, and Koanu had basically drawn him into that trap by falling back to the side itself. There's 2 free kills for the stage.
With MXS playing so slowly at the moment, it's really giving M80 an opportunity to get the read onto them and rotate to the site before the exec is coming in with a comp that does not particularly rotate that quickly. It's, you know, a far slower composition that is not suited for flooding like how MXS's comp was when we saw them on that last half. Like the floods were really where M80 were struggling previously on defense, but that just hasn't had to really be an aspect of their game at the moment. They've just been on this, you know, they've just been able to anchor the sites when these super late hits are coming in. I would kind of want to see a pace adjustment at some point here from MXS. Try and mix in something really quickly. Maybe on a round where Mata gets the showstopper ready. He's only a few orbs away from that now. M80 once again controlling A early with some slow orbs.
MXS can go fast here, hopefully. Right, they should realize that there's a
They should
big
realize
stack
they've got
over
room
the A
here
side
on
of the
B,
map
right?
that they have no interest in testing. Koanu being forced off by this one-way now means that the opportunities to get value here are limited with that operator. VCJ is also grouped up. So MXS get themselves a post plant because they identify the stack over towards the A side of the map, which they never were planning to test. And there it is, Koanu gets his. Instead of back out there, over towards Baby Door. Yes, some of that util from the Sage will make it very, very hard for MXS to follow that up. And now Nismo can come in from the other side. Brock was ready, but there was a double swing on that corner that just defeats the fade.
And they're just stuck back there now.
Upper. The only other place where he can play from, really.
Yeah,
hold on. Smoke to a third would be huge. What timing, but it's not enough.
It's expensive round, but M80 still at 11.
In this round, talk about coming alive in the second half of a map. He's done it again.
I know, in the final.
Bro, for real though, what was it? Wasn't it like 17? It was 7-3, right?
When they need him most.
Crazy.
At some point, I think he was, I want to say 3-13, and just in the last couple rounds has gotten himself 10 kills now. And they've all been really high impact. Crucial openings with the operator, 2 rounds in a row, finding those first kills with the scoped weapon. And now has it back in his hands to fight towards C.
Here.
That pace change got MXS the site early, but they just weren't able to retain it against the Nightfall with the weaker weaponry. They're on the full buy now. This might be one of their last chances.
Unreal, Sandy, look how far forward he pushed. I think he and Qualanu pinged that out early. They did want to fight. The shot looked decent on the satcheling raise. Mata doing everything he can to try and get into Mound, past this operator. That plan also falls on its face. And now M80 can sit back, fall back to the side behind his Odin here, and Net will be on the cams.
Oh, opportunity for a fly-up, but couldn't find the shot. BCJ just still trying to control Tree with that spam. The Odin's so powerful on that area of the map.
Cam taken down there. Slow fuel here could be pretty large. Might have been a wall to break things up as Net's able to find Flyer. Some of the fade U-tool towards the back of the site. M80 can shrug it off. Still no plant, by the way. The spike has just now gotten in position. Vic playing from the other side of that Sage wall here, and Koala Noob doesn't have the best shot. They realize, though, that Odorous there is...
Oh, I thought you got
They're able to spot him out with the Omen ultimate. That was a great little presence of mind there from Xander to check that spot. Vic would have had to have gone huge. And now with Net being brought back into the game, it's just too much to ask.
Wow, M80 is going to be able to save 4 rifles here.
Take us to match point.
Wow, Odashima was on the flank of a lifetime there. And Xander teleporting over just completely shut that down, spotted him out. If that teleport hadn't have happened, Odashima wins that round for MXS, no doubt in my mind. There were 3 players backside. They were not aware that that was coming, that super late backstab.
Yeah, just insane presence of mind there from Xander to quickly check that. And that's the, honestly, that's the completeness that we've seen from M80 on so many of these maps. Really thorough. And they can do it without, burning the entire round down. There's Vic there. Won't see too much towards the backside of the map. MXS might want to explode here onto this seaside, but beware of this utility. Marta's able to get in, but caught inside the smoke for the most part. Was able at the very least to make his way into Waterfall. Xander unaware of it. BCG has to know he's close around the corner, but Xander just takes his contact towards Ben.
Bro, Xander gets the quad there.
M80 close it up.
Or even gets the
composition flattens MXS in that second half.
Flawless round. Oh.
I mean, look at it. They're getting super excited off the back of that. BCJ is always going to be the hype man for whatever team he's on. What a performance on defense. Again, I just keep harkening back to that Oxygen game, but that is where M80 had some major struggles. MXS just could not get anything started against them there after playing, I think, a fantastic attack. MXS's defense, rather. I think they anti'd M80 hard. They played that to perfection, but on attack, it was far too monotonous. It was so slow the entire time from them. They just didn't mix up the pace enough for my taste, and M80's comp ended up working to perfection.
Yeah, it looked pretty uninspired there for MXS. A lot to talk about after that first map here, in which, of course, M80 only start with 5 attacking rounds. They're still able to take the dub. Ridiculous stuff. We'll be back, of course, with more right after this.
All right, so M80. Telling you, I was nervous there for a minute. Oh. All right, well, we got to break real quick, chat. I got to run down my shaker. Make sure this is rinsed out. I'll be right back. Fluffy aimers. B. Damn. Sit down for a little bit, champ. Ugh. Quads are still on fire. My back hurts. I'm getting old, chap. I'm not gonna lie, I think we might only. Well, we'll see. We'll see how this next map goes. But yeah, something tells me we might only do upper bracket finals. I'm exhausted, man. We had a long weekend. We got a long couple of days coming up. I might legit only watch upper bracket finals.
Well, M80's Triple Senti pulls out the W on Lotus 13-9. Who is this? This is not Gompers. This is Rompers. What's up, Roy?
I'm like great value Gompers, okay? Call me Rompers. We can move on. I wish I could fill her C, but I'll do my best while we're here, okay?
Well, you came in at a perfect time. We have so many good matches today, but okay, let's start with covering Lotus. 7-5 half went in the way of MXS at the beginning, but did you expect MXS's defense to make it more difficult for a Triple Senti comp to get around?
This is definitely a very interesting one to talk about, right, Lemon? Because it was a game of stalls from M80's side, and it was really that just readaptability from Moist to figure out how they wanted to dictate the pace of the match. M80 went into this knowing how they themselves wanted to play.
I still don't understand that play there. Like no one watching backside.
Moist came into this on both sides looking to anti-strat M80. And M80, rather than doing that, they played to their strengths the entire time and doubled down on this composition to just reinforce what's been working for them so far this stage.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good point. Circling back to the MXS thing, I think their first half was pretty good. Like, you can tell they had a very clear game plan. They knew exactly what they wanted to do on their defense side. It worked pretty well because they got M80 to slow down, right? They got them to kind of play outside of their comfort zones. And then we get into the second half, they win the pistol. Things are looking great for MXS. They win the eco, everything's looking fantastic. Then all of a sudden, M80's composition just starts ramping up. Their stalwart defense, they have utility spread out on every site. It seemed like everywhere that MXS wanted to be, the players from M80 were arriving just in time.
And, you know, Roy, you have that experience being in IGL too. It's so exhausting on a 3-site map like this, where you have a defensive team against you that's playing so slow, sometimes contact heavy, but really reliant on your misinformation of abusing Fade utility, making sure that once deployed, you reset the pieces around so that you have no choice but to push until the very last second and hope for the best, don't get crunched on a retake.
I know M80 were really calling upon Xander's IGL and just complimenting it last week of how much his calling has helped them improve. And like, you could tell that there was a lot of weight on his shoulders as well, the paranoia thrower, and honestly the best tool that M80 had with the Triple Senti on offense. That's why I was asking if MXS should have taken more rounds on the defense, considering without a duelist for M80, how do you get in with Triple Senti? So Xander, of course, did a lot of work with those paranoias, BCJ with the Prowlers going in, but once M80 were on the site, they were able to use that deadlock barrier, the slows and everything, Roy.
Exactly. You know, you're absolutely right. You nailed it right on the head, honestly. There's just so much utility in their composition if you allow them to take their sites. And I think that's kind of part of M80's game plan, right? Is the map is very large. Players are usually pretty spread out on their defense side. So if we can overwhelm sites quickly, maybe trade out a couple players for the site, and then have like a bajillion amount of gadgets, they're pretty much good to go, to be honest. And it obviously helps the fact that Nismo's popping off and sort of like every player on M80 is kind of popping off. And that is kind of like, that's sort of like M80's trademark, right? Is they don't really have a star player system anymore because every player is a star player. You have Nismo on the support role dropping bombs. You have Xander, who should be in jail for avoiding the IGL tax for years now. Like, you know what I mean? Like they just have so many strong players in every single role. They don't really need duelists. They don't need that sort of system.
You're completely right too. I'm so sorry, but their actual duelist, right, Koala Noob, was #1 Radiant ranked back in May, and yet with him having an underperforming game, M80 as a whole, all their players had highlight moments.
Yeah, I know we were hyping up so much of like the Koala Noob versus Mata, then Koala Noob blocks the stage, and oh yeah, the triple Senti. Yeah. They picked this map for a reason, and after that 7-5 half went the way of MXS, once M80 got to use the triple Senti on defense, it became more and more obvious who was going to win the map at the end. So it's great to see.
There's just so much utility, right? Like,
but coming up next,
especially in the rounds that matter the most.
Choice of map. And that's going to be Icebox. And at least, Keg, on our pre-show, we were hyping up a lot of Mata's Reyna.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, again, if you're going against a team with no duelists whatsoever, it's definitely going to be a big struggle to go up against Arena. That's really going to be the win condition for either one of these teams. And if I'm Moist,
all right, let's go off the Icebox, chat.
Debatably be
most exciting map in all the land.
I would go to a map 3 where I haven't won so far this stage.
Yeah.
And Roy, well, we don't even need a duelist sometimes, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was saying this privately, but I genuinely think that M80's composition on Icebox is one of the best on the map, right? Like, they don't really need the duelist, but they haven't sacrificed the benefits of Jet. They still have the verticality with Omen. They still have that aggressive player. I mean, the dude can play any role, and it feels like he's playing a duelist. Like, he's playing Sage, he's swinging you, he's opping you, he's just running around the map. Now he's on Omen, just like teleporting up, teleporting down, teleporting away. They have smokes for the initial control. They just have like so many layers of utility on that map. So I think the kind of the main point is how interesting it'll be to see the clashes of two different philosophies on the map, right? Like, you have the utility bomb composition with MXS, right? They have the Reyna Leers, they have the Gecko flashes. There's just so much utility they have at their disposal. And then on the other side, you have M80's composition with Omen, and there's so much like layers of utility and elevation. So to see like the duelist versus the non-duelist philosophies clashing will at minimum be quite interesting.
And Keg, what do you think of the Reyna Gecko versus just a Gecko with no duelist to match up with it? Do you really mix up the Dizzies with the Reyna Leers? Do you want to keep that separate? How does the Reyna work for you?
I really like the Reyna Gecko. I think it's very underrated. It's definitely used a lot on this map, but having that double flash capability, the fact that both those flashes don't affect anybody on your team means that no matter what, you can avoid that first flash. No matter what the other one is after that, it's going to be very hard to get back at it. You're pretty much guaranteeing to win that 2v1 or even a 2v2 95% of the time at minimum.
So I'm excited to get into Agents to find out what that really is, because Roy, we only really get to see Mata play Reyna on Icebox and not too much else. So with your experience on a team, if you only play an agent on one map and you've only played it twice the stage, is there a question of comfortability or maybe time on the agent?
No, honestly, I think these guys have so much rep at this point. I think it should be pretty much fine. And I mean, these guys play a lot of ranked as well, right? Like, Reyna's a relatively easy plug and play agent, right? Like, I mean, Mata's also an extremely, I'm not sure if people know this, but Mata's an extremely vocal duelist. So him being on a duelist that has Leers and has like this sort of flash system is going to work very smoothly into his playstyle, because he's very communicative.
Because he can just lead the charge.
Vocal, and he's easy to like kind of set up these sort of micro plays with him and Gecko and just kind of like run down sites together.
Well, I'm excited to see what he's going to be running down with. We have our Blacklight agent select ready. Is it going to be the same as
all right, let's take a look at it, chat. Icebox, here we go.
Woo! And this is what exactly we expected to be on the menu, Keg.
Triple flashes from Moist. Oh boy.
Basically,
well,
a mirror comp.
We'll have to put on our glasses.
Just the Omen and Reyna
for us to really see. We have so many flashes on both sides.
Yeah.
It's gonna be definitely a very much more volatile matchup than we saw on Lotus.
Who's calling for M80?
Matches where I feel attacking teams are gonna take a lot of time before
is BCJ still IGLing?
And Mata talked about in an interview how he runs in with a game plan, his own game plan, he called it. And he doesn't, want to tell us about it, but his team have been setting up for success. And ever since they ran the Reyna, Roy, they've been undefeated.
All right, so this is,
I think, yeah, you're absolutely right. They have actually won 2 times.
Voice map pick.
Blinn, who's also a very good Icebox team. So I think the fact that they were able to defeat Blinn so easily speaks to the level of play they have on that map. And I'm actually I am very curious at this point, just intellectual curiosity at this point to see okay, is Reyna really a better slot in here? Because it's pretty much identical composition. It's just Omen for Reyna, right? Is Reyna the better agent here, or is Omen the layers of smokes, the layers of one ways to kind of draw out some of that attacking utility before you get to the sites? Is that going to help them?
Verticality too.
And yeah, of course, the verticality, which that is a massive weakness to Moise's comp, right? Not having a player that can be opping on top of yellow, not having people that can make those sort of verticality plays, that kind of makes things awkward.
Well, the selfish versus the selfless agent pick. We'll see what happens. It's match point for M80. Winner goes to Ascension. Keep that in mind. Let's go check in with Uber and Wyatt.
Thank you very much to our friends on the desk. I'd like the discussion here, Wyatt, about the verticality that isn't really afforded to this composition from MXS, right? As good as Reyna is at getting into the sides and fighting, she can't really access, the rafter side on the A side, push further back into the side. You can play off a 410 potentially, but getting that penetration can be a little bit trickier. But they found success in their last 2 games with this Reyna setup, and they're not the only team that's playing it. TSM have been playing this Reyna, and M80 have already dealt with them recently in their last outing on this map, albeit in a close overtime win.
All right.
Yeah, Roy made a good point with the verticality.
Oh, he's starting off on the offensive side?
Specifically, because Koala
gonna have to try some sort of pace here
when he's got the cash to do it on Omen, and will be able to go into some of those positions, top, yellow, etc. So we'll have to see how that will affect this game. A game that if M80 take right now, if they take Icebox, MXS's map pick, they will have guaranteed their spot at Ascension in Monterey later this year.
And again, it is that no duelist setup here for M80. Otoshila able to take some contact here as the defenders push off that A site, eventually traded out as there were 2 forms of flashes leveled at that single player. Finding some success through the middle part of the map, there is Net. Now the defenders with that player advantage, and Net playing safe here over towards Snowman will still allow Vic to get up to Nest. And Flyer is taking his time.
Content doing so, they can play for retake with this man advantage, of course, and BCJ still has the wingman to get on the spike too.
Well, Noob, actually, I think that's a player over towards mid that got brought down there. It's all going to be up to Vic over there. Flyer has to do some serious work. He threw Kitchen, and he didn't cook enough.
That's going to be all up to Vic.
Vic. You see that one way being thrown down here by the defenders. That's what the Omen offers you on this particular map, and eventually he had to stand and deliver. It's going to be M80 picking up a pistol round here. Starting off with a bang on defense.
Yeah, when need be, this comp can be pretty potent on the retakes, having the additional smokes from Koala Noob that you just pointed out, getting the one-ways down, and then also just the ability to flood with all of the flashes that they've got, which was on display in that round too, not in the case of a flood, but how effective it is to sync up additional initiator utility with your Gecko when he's throwing out that Dizzy, being forced to break it, and then all of a sudden a KO pop flash goes straight into your eyes, can't see a thing. That's how M80 got that man advantage, got that pistol round win. They're now going to be hunting for a nice, clean anti-eco.
BCJ, they're going to be struck by the Dizzy, but of course they're trying to funnel as many orbs as they can into the Gecko. And this is promoted a push up mid by MXS, which Net is about to spot. The question is, does he get away with his head still intact? Yes, takes
Saw
the shot.
2.
Putting on either way, though. Try to play off the
barely
contact.
Intact. Halfway intact. Oh, BCJ. Good timing, this little re-clear, re-pushing with Xander. Taking the space in mid, using the Dizzy for some info gathering. And now they can work back towards M80, pick those.
Yeah, they are on the approach.
Up just in
slowly,
time.
but surely.
Yeah, we'll have that Rafters presence here for Xander. Remember, better weaponry for M80, a lot to work with now. The Dizzy going to be felled instantly, but Xander was a little bit exposed. He tucks to the right
BCG
side.
on the backside of the site.
Going to be falling to a nano swarm there. Set up by Net prior. BCJ playing off the corner. He's waiting for a teammate to play off him. It's going to be Xander there on the off angle. He's brought down to just 5 health, and he'll be claimed by the Molly.
Clean enough for M80, who heading into this match have never lost an anti-eco in the playoffs. Same for MXS, interestingly enough. Kuala Noob has got that Outlaw into this round, but it was basically classics all around for the Moist Shopify side, aside from one Sheriff, but I don't think that will impact the individual economy too much. So no one-shottable targets for Kuala Noob with this Outlaw.
Guys, headshots all bust for the Omen. Again, has the ability to play up on top of yellow, like a Jet might at the start of the round. BCJ again going to be struck by the Dizzy, but more than happy to get his orb and get out. 2 away from ult. Not bad considering he hasn't been involved in that much fighting. Didn't see anything on the pistol really, except Otoshima, who was overwhelmed.
Motto just trying to take up a cheeky bit of positioning to wait out a peek. Might get one from Rafters. I'll have to see. Net seems to be
patient.
Very patient, yeah.
They won't be playing on a bonus like this, unfortunately. Going to be offering Mata up an opportunity either way. And this is enough for MXS to say, okay, how many players can we draw across here? We might end up going for B, or maybe a split through mid here, with M80 starting to rotate towards A for the time being.
Yeah, evidently drawing a lot off of that little moment.
Still,
literally no one at B here.
Gambling.
Right there.
They're assuming there was a noise cut maybe by MXS on A. That hasn't happened. Instead, they're all over this B site now. They've cleared yellow with that 0 point. Dizzy sees nothing, so they have to know it's time for a plant here.
30 seconds left.
Wingman is able to throw it down, and now without net, M80 have to play a full retake here with 0 information about the map on the B side.
No information, and they don't have too much.
Lesser weaponry.
I guess they got some utility they can use.
Tough. We'll see how clean MXS can make this. I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but they really should be winning this out.
But oh, he's able to dodge away from the paranoia. Quantum thought it might be safe to TP4, but it was not. BCJ at least able to find the 1 here. Poison orb thrown up to try and screen the attackers away from the spike. But it's just Nismo with a ghost. And he gets spotted out there by that 0 point.
Trying to play it patient, trying to see if he can just find one.
See if he can get anything on the way out, and Brock does go down to the ghost. That will be that. And
could be bonus, but
on the board here. They're going to give up no more
guns.
That's
all right.
3 in round 4.
Just a tad bit of damage, but nothing significant. Simple but effective from MXS. Really drawing a big rotate from M80, who were content to gamble just a bit on that bonus round. Did not have the best weaponry, so figured they'd buy into their own read, which was that there was going to be that silent re-hit onto A. Didn't come. And now they've got their full buy active.
Hey, yo, didn't what?
Immediately picking up that operator.
And that thrash is online here for BCJ. Maybe a round or so late in some cases, but Gecko can't always orb max as he'd like. Okay, Kuala Noob wasn't quite posted up there. Actually assumes the angle just as Mata comes around a corner, and Empress is popped instantly. Leas are available, of course, here, and there's a lot of util for MXS to overrun this site. M80 trying to get in position. Nismo able to receive Mata there. The Empress gets shut down instantly. It was 2 for Uncle. And that's all he's going to get. Thrash comes now down in a 3 versus 3 situation. And Vic is pushed up pretty deep over towards Boiler now. Has to watch out for the double face.
Nice.
Wingman starting to go to work. It's that Raven's presence taken down by Vic, but he'll be traded out. And in a round where MXS bring up so much into the round, util-wise, ult-wise, they get slapped back down.
They did make it relatively expensive though, right? Like they got 3.
Nismo attached to the hip there, playing together behind the wall, ready to anchor. Didn't even look like it crossed their minds to fall back into the site. With a player down and with their Omen down specifically, that really takes away a lot of the utility for the retake, not having those smokes of the paranoia to cut off some of those angles, right? So they just stay in, and Anchor Nismo goes off. Has always been very solid on this map, on the KO. Definitely a map and an agent that I really do associate with his play.
They tucked into that corner by Jen, right on the other side of the Viper wall. That's audacious considering there's an ulting Rainer in the round. I like to see it. Kuala Noob here with the operator in hand once more. Had to reinvest in it, so only has half armor. And gets brought down by Vic through mid. He is trying to take some real big swings, and they're not paying off.
He is having a tough time so far, trying to be the more proactive of the two when it comes to those first duel engagements. And again now, similar situation. MXS just want to accelerate into A after finding that first kill. Stifled by the mollies. But M80 a bit too far away to get into the site, at least now, to fight.
Mata is deep, just where he wants to be here. BCJ didn't know where to look. There was a player from above, and of course, Mata heading over towards Boiler here. Then able to bring him down from Rafter, and again, this defensive flood is worked out. Behind that null command of Nismo. And now it's up to Brock here in that 1 versus 2. Spike yet to be planted, drops in behind, makes noise, and at least recovers the objective. But a double swing will be
5 HP in a dream.
5 HP. And Alexander and Nismo are going to have another crack at it. Brock with just 5 HP here to try and salvage the round for MXS. And buy into the next at the very least here. But Xander completes 3. Beautiful anchoring here, or the retake rather, from M80 as they flooded back in.
Nicely done from the OG M80 duo. Trying to make it back to Ascension for a second time. Nismo, Xander sticking together after their failed attempt coming up just short second place last year.
Jeez.
Nicely played from them, and nicely played from the team as a whole again on A. For a second there thought perhaps they missed the timing of trying to flood in. They were a bit far away when the mollies were popped by net that delayed MXS, but it was just long enough of a delay for them to use that null command, in the hands of Nismo and just fly back into the site together. M80 are looking phenomenal early on, Icebox here. They really have leveled up as a team so much since Net joined, since the process of integrating him into this team began just a couple months ago. Very impressive stuff from them so far.
And let's not forget who they had to replace. You know, who they lost with Net coming into this
I think we're probably only going to watch
for this roster. So much experience, a great caller as well.
They lost an IGL. Tough to recover from that midway through the year.
I think we're only going to watch
not only have they recovered, but they've surpassed the level that they were at in stage 1.
No doubt about it. Now we just need to see Koala get involved. They did recover his operator at the end of the previous round, so more chances for the Orping Omen to find purchase. This time he'll be perched up on yellow towards the B side.
Net early just jiggling towards Belt. Here's a lot of audio cues from the attacking utility, and that'll force him to fall off as over on B. M80 have gotten very active. Xander pushed very far down.
Vic surrounded here by assailants. Went out against Nismo. Oh, he wins them both out. That is massive.
Wow.
Oh, that might be an audible call here by MXS. They get deep onto that A side, but they might just pull out.
Koala Noob is still over.
What up, King?
How you doing, buddy? A lot of time to play with. There's a minute on the clock. Opportunity for Koala Noob with the operator.
How much,
to finally
man? Just
get
chilling.
some value with this investment. And off that shot, MXS say no.
Low-key kind of hoping M80 wrap this thing up on Icebox.
But that will result
so I don't feel guilty about going to bed.
The other 2 remaining M80 players who will be doubling up. They will be anchoring this all or nothing.
Boy's tired. I've been busy today, man. Record the podcast that drops tomorrow.
Here it is, Mata. From the top.
Record another video that I already dropped today.
M80, but the men in good
made
setting their
thumbnails of both of those.
BCJ able to bring Brock down and get out alive is huge. Another lockdown. This is going to make things a little bit dicey. The clock is ticking. 17 seconds to play with. And MXS have to make their way over towards B, but Vic could be a problem. Inserted now back towards their spawn, but he gives away his position. That Spike is going to get
watched
down
the
just in
HCS
time.
event this weekend, so I'm just unbeat.
This round from Vic is unbelievable. Just a bug in the system, unraveling M80.
So chaotic. MXS just every single round on attack. They're going to make me sweat with how little time they leave on the clock when they're trying to plant. I mean, on Lotus, that was their undoing on a few critical rounds. They're calling that late rotate back to B. I was getting so worried on A when they were trying to fight BCJ and Net, but just weren't committing to swinging onto them together. It was so slow. The peaks were just coming at really, really long intervals. But Vic bails them out, forces M80 onto an eco.
Clear thrown out, but they're close enough there not to be too impacted by it. Ends up being a trade here. Got to feel pretty good for the defenders, but eventually Koala Noob will be expunged from this part of the map. Net's gotten deep down mid here. In a position to hear much of the movements if they're made.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of good.
This will be watched though by Otoshima, who also has that turret to play off of for contact.
feedback about it.
Now we've slowed the pace down a little bit. MXS encroaching over towards B. They don't know about yellow. That hasn't been cleared, but Flyer is not inclined to use the 0 point to confirm. He's most spotted. They want to know who else is playing off that KO. They only
good
see
information. That got BCJ though, and they already spotted the KO, right? So they know 2 are here.
I just don't know.
He's most likely fallen back towards the snowman here.
How we get a kid free night.
The wrap around now, and the timing is good. He catches BCJ out, but is that a cost? He found with a classic. Now down to net in a 1 versus 2. A round that should have been pretty straightforward for MXS. Gets a bit rocky. And M80 keep a lid on that bank.
Yeah, rocky off that aggression early from M80. Just funneling down B. Where because of how close that defender barrier is, you can get right up into the attacker's face if they're showing any presence early B. I mean, sometimes you even see the defenders just pick up Buckies and run straight down at the attackers because you can meet them there so easily. So a bit of damage done, keeping the MXS economy honest enough, I suppose, as we head into a round with many ultimates available on both sides.
Okay, looks like they're poison orb up mid. Vic's able to get ahead of it, but there was a turret left there, which is pretty standard. So he backs away, but Net doesn't know just how far forward the attackers have gotten. He just rechecked it then. And Marta's going to pop the Empress now towards that A side of the map, but I mean, pretty hard to do too much here with that Viper's Pit in play.
Yeah, and of note here as well, this null command from Flya, where he stood towards A. Net is anchoring the A site with his utility, so that null command will shut off all of the mollies, the alarm bot, if the hit does come in there.
They're going to try mid again. Okay, the turret did wake up, or was removed rather. I think that was a little too far away from it, but he knows it's been broken now. Yeah, this gets a little bit awkward for BCJ. Doesn't quite know if this is going to be under tube or through it properly. I think Nismo was trying to watch in towards mid there, but instead will reinforce kitchen. 30 seconds left. Here comes that null command out. That's in the middle part of the map here. Fly is using it over towards A. What? Okay, he was blind. Either way, BCJ able to find Vic briefly. Traded out, but Nismo now ready for more action towards Boiler, and it's going to be a pincer because Net is sat in rafters.
10 seconds left.
Very little time left in the round, and Xander shuts down the wingman plant. It's all up to Otoshimi here. And he's going to hope to hold onto his gun. That would be best case scenario.
I mean, 10 seconds left, not even an opportunity to try to replant that spike, going all the way down to the clock's very end yet again from MXS. And Mitch, the year is 2024. Icebox has been in the game for how long? 3 years, 3.5 years. I've still never seen a mid to A split work. It's simply never happened. This map, man, just like genuinely.
I think I gotta stand up.
Could have just ran it down A with a null command.
Yeah.
But I respect the effort. They're trying to mix that up, but the splits on this map are a nightmare to try to pull off, man.
Yeah, better off to leave those routes for late flanks in post-plant scenarios than to try and divide your forces and get onto the site via that mechanism.
I mean, especially with the window, they're getting shot from so many
bro,
angles trying to cross there. Just a nightmare situation. And now this is the economy on the line for Moist Shopify in this round as Brock dodges that knife. Will allow him to use the Thrash with no delay.
This Thrash, by the way, can't get into Crow's Nest at all or to rafters. So it actually gets stopped short in the end. This time, Net's turret going to be removed once more. He will play off of it and bring Vic down, but not before he deals with the player in Boiler. But his anchoring from M80 is almost Leviathan-esque. They're staving MXS off quite comfortably. The spike is loose right now. Marta down. Flyer had to push the smoke to try and find something, but that was not enough.
M80's about halfway there, chat.
Nismo really
One
just
more next round technically puts him over halfway
the
point.
Timing's playing KO here. When he can use the flashes through the wall, just there was a perfect moment, pops through off of his own flash, finds another kill, anchoring that A site. M80 have the map on lockdown. MXS forced onto an eco. I mean, actually, they are buying up a bit for a second there. Brock was down to nothing with a hero Vandal, but they're going to ensure that they have enough for the next. A couple decent weapons to play with.
Leah thrown out here to give MXS access to green. There's a lot of util standing in between them and the B site, though. The Killjoy setup is here this round.
Yeah, an adjustment from Net.
And now, of course, the operator in hands of Koala Noob once more. Previously Xander in that last round. It never got tested. Leah out towards yellow. Here comes that util mark. Thinking, oh, God, let me in. Eventually, though, he will be able to walk up here on B. And maybe still aren't sure. Koala Noob is, what? He sticks this, okay. They have reinforced the B site. And it looks like MXS are mostly committed here.
And that one way goes down, which will allow M80 to fight, and Xander finds the perfect timing.
He's stuck out in the open, though. Has to fight that out, and even the trade attempt on Xander gets shut down by Mata. Koala Noob now wants to fall off this a little further. But there's enough time being bought for BCJ to reinforce via kitchen. And Koala Noob can play from outside of this lockdown. Maybe refresh that one way. No, actually, we'll just cut Mata off the rest of his team. He'll be sitting on top of that wingman as they plant.
He's trying to find a forward position as the pit goes down from Vic. He's been finding a lot of kills. Random shots through the pit, just hoping to connect on to the Viper. Not going to happen. Mata's position is looking so good right now. When this wall drops or when he pushes through it.
Oh, 1, 2, 3.
3 there and 4 for the round.
There's playing some aim labs out here. It's fun. It's too easy.
And MXS could sit back inside their Viper spin and let him do the dirty work.
M80 really wanted to get proactive off of that one way that Koala Noob put onto main. Xander found that perfect timing to at least collect the one back yellow. But it ended up putting M80 in a position where they just over-aggressed in the mid-round into the waiting crosshairs of the MXS players. Their economy's been so good, though. Not going to be punished too hard for that. They can buy up here, but MXS, if they win this round, they have an opportunity to tie up the half. It would break M80's economy.
BCJ playing close here. Probably too far away, RMXS.
Yeah, Thrash ain't going to
We can just loop around and have that mostly recoverable. Yeah, BCJ can scoop that one back up here, and this has definitely slowed MXS down. Another Thrash available for a later point in this round for the defenders.
How was your weekend, King?
With more Shopify side to try and re-clear into B main.
Other than the Deadpool movie.
Gets that Empress, pops it straight away.
BCJ's creeping up here onto the B side again. You might be thinking of running the Thrash back. Let's see, it's all a matter of timing. Just how deep do MXS get? And it would really be only Xander that could play off of the detainment. It does look like it's the plan way. In he comes.
Wow. Very proactive Thrash right now, but gets cancelled by the knife, and Mata
nice,
catches him around
Mata.
the corner. What a shot.
Now this could be a problem now. Xander, though, able to deal with
Man, imagine Mata's able to find Xander there as well, put a little bit more pressure up over onto yellow. Has the back Koala down.
Until they actually emerge properly. And spray at the corner there will force Brock back. 20 seconds left on the clock. Again, MXS will let this tick down. They've got to go for it. Xander falls though. Flyer able to get the win out towards yellow. And Koala Noob gets real deep. He doesn't even look at the wingman because he finds himself a couple freebies. And now needs most in that 1 versus 2. The 0 point is back online.
God, this team makes me panic the way they play the clock.
Bro, for real though.
Just running it down to the last second, Brock. Swings at
I think they almost try and like force M80 into like last second rotations to question their decision, or try and push them forward like in the last second and like almost like thinking that like it's not on that site, you know.
Mata getting traded out back. Yellow flies flash coming a bit too late. A miscommunication, but they recover. They collect themselves in a tense moment.
Look, I think
themselves to 5.
The 0 point they're catching onto BCJ midway through the Thrash was big, but I think the Thrash actually got stuck on one of the corners at green, one of the boxes that jutted out. Gave MXS enough time to get back. Even had they been detained, it would have been hard to chase that in. Now we'll have an attacking Thrash. Leo gets them out. Dizzy also going to be combined with that. Only 2 players here. There is Killjoy util at B at the very least, and Koala Noob's been able to push up on A.
Oh yeah, monster on the loose.
Here's the attacking Thrash.
It's because that knife caught the player back. Yellow, that's the freest stun of all time onto BCJ.
And that just moved straight up into that position there, but MXS were ready for it. A lot of big ultimates getting used on this round. Null Command also deployed. Otoshima watching the flank with an operator. Very, very hard for Koalanu to do much more than push up out of 8. And now it's Xander with Nismo down, not in a position to pick him back up. And MXS have been able to even up the map, heading into halftime.
Simple but very effective from the Moist Shopify team. Taking all of B main with the Thrash. Wait for the Thrash to be able to be used a second time. Knife back yellow. If someone's there, Brock was ready to pop it instantly. Connects onto BCJ, immediate Thrash. Very simple, very effective. Earns them that final round. And despite how dominant M80 looked on defense early on in that half, a great recovery from MXS. M80 just not able to succeed over on that B site as they did on A. Their play on A was significantly better.
Let's see what we have here coming out of the pistol on this second half. M80 were able to put it together pretty well. Their anchoring and general site holes over on A were impeccable. And that at least has drawn us to even now as they are playing a real slow over towards this A side.
Yeah, taking their time, walking up. MXS controlling the other side of the map, B main. Seems very likely we'll be headed into a full retake situation. Certainly so with Otoshima falling off, not going to risk it.
Raft is smoked as well. Wingman Plan going to come down, and now MXS have an opportunity here with a little bit of time to set up and try and encircle. Again, standard turret set up there by Net, and he's able to play off of it to remove Flyer from the equation. This means that the flank potential has now been nullified. Marta's not going to bother with it. He's going to have to come in from Boiler. And M80 are pretty well set up around this with those Omen one-ways consistently making a half.
They're going to do the same thing and wait till the last second to push in for the retake.
Yeah,
no, Xander 3. Holy shnikes. Xander 4. Oh my goodness.
Come on, man. You can't let him get all of those. How does he get
the 4th? That's kind of filthy, bro.
Deep into the
Jeez
site.
Louise.
Set up perfectly. Net gets that crucial kill on the flank, and then just before Xander took these fights, there was a paranoia from Koalanu, a little bit of delay, and then BCJ ready to throw up the dizzy off Nismo's contact, blind everybody up. Such a great way to fully stifle and just put that attempt at a retake into the dirt. Another pistol for M80. Another outlaw for Koalanu.
I like the idea from Flyer. And honestly, a great molly to force the outlaw off that angle, potentially letting the shotgun player get in close. But the DC timing was superb. And again, M80 have to be meticulous to some degree here. Going up against what they know is an anti-eco. They have not lost to too many of these rounds on their run through playoffs so far, and this one looks to be no exception. Behind the Viper wall, they can set up, and remember, the Omen that they have access to, because they have no duelist, gives them that smoke for Snowman after the Viper wall comes down.
And at this point, nothing to be done but play this in textbook fashion, try and get out all of the weapons that you've got, carry them into the next for that pure bonus.
All right, got to pee again.
Good right now on the map pick of Moist Shopify. A bold pick for Moist Shopify, to be frank. This has been one of M80's go-to maps all year long. So it was never going to be easy for MXS, despite this being their pick.
You know what? They've only... Oh, nicely done by Xander there to clean up the round. MXS definitely hoping to perish to the spike if they could. But M80 have only lost this map once this year. Actually, yeah. Icebox, over the course of this entire Challengers season, they've lost it only to Blim. Outside of that, in Stage 1, they were squeaky clean on it, beating such teams as Turtle Troop and TSM. And then they came around here in Stage 2 and also really put on a show for us. Just that Blim loss, I think, just really stands out. But as was talked about, I think, on the desk, Blim are a great Icebox team as well. So M80 have to feel really good about the way this map pool has happened, because MXS were like a breeze and split team in Stage 1. So the map rotation of maps definitely hurt them, and they had to find other edges.
Early aggression from MXS, pushing forward, taking some space. Dizzy misses, but ultimately irrelevant. I am keeping my eyes here on Koalanu because of that investment into the shotgun, etc. from MXS. They have a lot of light armor players that are in danger. of that Outlaw. So one peek gone awry, an attempt at a jiggle spot could result in a man down if Koala Noob has his eyes on it.
It's only going to be Vic here at the B site. Pretty far forward positioning. Some pings here. Again, M80 want to clear these close corners. Definitely still feeling the chance of some shenanigans from the defenders. That Molly should be on the B site to prevent a swing out onto the planter location. And BCJ will throw it down. Eyes straight towards mid here.
Spike planted.
Maybe pressing forward just a little bit, but ultimately going to fall back. A bit of utility to play with, but nothing too crazy.
Okay, Leah goes
now
up.
Trying to fight forward again.
Good mosh here on the back of Yellow. This really unseats M80 to some degree. BCJ able to hold it down. Basically on the side itself. Have the Otoshima and Mata here to make something happen. And BCJ should be able to take contact. Yep, on the former. Mata playing from above gets one. And then you'll have to walk away with the rifle and nothing else to your name. M80 have been squeaky clean so far in the second half.
Relegated to save for an attempt to be a hero with the lone Vandal on this following round. M80 fell back a bit and then found this timing where they decided to re-push, fight through that wall. BCJ, Xander.
Oh, I gotta get some for Weevil champ.
And they caught the perfect moment. MXS not prepared for that sort of delayed aggression from the attackers. And it's got them on a pure eco aside from that. Rifle, of course, sheriffs as well. This is a real opportunity for M80 to extend the lead, extend their economic lead as well. Snowball into some of these ultimates. They've already got a Thrash and a Viper's Pit for the next gun round. I mean, so long as they clean things up here effectively.
Close push up here by the defenders again. Been thwarted already once this half. They are deep in net. Okay, might be good for one, but yeah, always tough to take the second down. Koala Noob, though, playing that curry spot. Was able to find Flyer, turn it into a trade up for the attackers. And they know this A side's going to be pretty lightly held. Say the same of Vic's grip on his weapon after he lifelessly falls to the ground. And Brock, with that recovered Vandal, is the last player in the round.
And the call there from Net for the rest of the team is too simple. Realizing the amount of aggression, the number of bodies pushed down B just lets the rest of the squad know to accelerate into that essentially unguarded or lightly guarded A site. And M80 crawling their way closer to the finish line to returning to the Ascension tournament. They are on the cusp. And you know how much it means for these guys. They've stuck together as a unit, the core three, all year long after playing all of last year for this moment. And they are so close to grasping it. Just a few rounds away.
You could see how they looked after they won that first
map.
Well,
yeah, I think this is going to be as quick as I was hoping. That's good.
Knowing that they could walk onto Icebox here, a map where they always
so means
feel
we
good.
I should be able to help her with
but their shot at Ascension has to have been a great feeling. And they walk into a round like this one with their opponents kind of forcing up many half-armored targets and a Thrash to your name. M80 in a really good position. 4 rounds
early
in a row.
on, Xander had collected a lot of just sort of insignificant to the round kills, like post spike plant killing ecoed players, but it matters now because he has the Viper's Pit. You have the Thrash to take the site and the Viper's Pit to hold it.
Perfect recipe here for M80. Busy sees very little over at A, and behind that, Mata has pushed up. Be something for M80 to be aware of now as the round ticks down. They are peeing close here, so they are anticipating, for whatever reason, an aggressive push up here, but do they expect this presence from Jail? That's a whole different story.
Yeah, this is new from Mata, and this is the benefit of playing Reyna slumps. Next, that first bullet and will ability to get out of dodge. Actually, in need of some assistance. Really in need of it.
He doesn't cross.
Unable to get it.
He didn't cross back. I think maybe he thought he could get more. Maybe he thought he.
I think he was expecting them to expect him to have crossed. I don't think he's expecting to get blinded by the Dizzy.
Has not been deployed yet. Xander, though, is going to throw it down regardless. And it will be a wingman plant. A lot to ask for here out of MXS. At least Flyer made some space there behind that molly, but Vic will have to dive into the pit and find what he can. Nismo, though, maladroitly swings out of the Viper's Pit. M80 need to cool it down. Serious risk of overheating here in this post plant. They do. They back into the pit. Force MXS to come fishing.
There was an early wingman immediately broken. Really the only tool to expose anyone in that pit removed.
Oh, Net. Such a rat. Another fantastic post plant position. And now Vic has to do it all here. Big investment in this round for MXS. They came in with that half armor. With 63 health, Vic has to make this happen. There just isn't enough time, folks. The Viper's Pit shut them down. And M80 get to 11, once again breaking MXS's bank.
They're just making it look all too easy right now. This is such a strong M80 team. Simple to win out the round in the context of having those ultimates, and now Net has built up the lockdown.
And now Moist Shopify says, hey, you know what? We need to pump the brakes here a little bit.
Get them that win. They are on the cusp.
Yo, BCJ looks different. My boy gone through puberty and everything.
From their coach Mac.
Gotta wonder what the plan was there for Mata. He hits the dismiss. Perhaps he thinks he can't cross back over towards 410 safely.
I don't think he could have. I'm pretty sure he would have gotten out of it and been exposed for about a second.
Okay.
So just tried to stay, tried to get a second, but ultimately heard players encircling him from both behind and that player forward on belt, which ultimately there was just nothing he could do there. Had to try to fight and get a second, but just completely caught out. So much early aggression right now from MXS, and it just has really not resulted in any value up until this point.
I mean, look at this round. It's a glass cannon for Mata. A half armor for most of the team.
Wow, and even out of this timeout, Koala Noob is picking up an operator. I mean, listen, Koala Noob, he likes to op on attack regardless, but against a team that's walking down on you like MXS are, just picking up an angle with that op, you got a fair shot getting that first kill.
Yeah, they open another round here with this really aggressive posturing with green wire. They fall off of it, and again, another missed shot for Koala Noob. Now that will at least give M80 some breathing room on the B side of the map as all of MXS fall off. Back to more defensive positions. In fact, they expect M80 to ping back over towards the A side, but that is not what is happening.
Oh, what an over-rotate right now.
He's
the entire team. Just Xander making a bit of noise. And now Fly is trying to get his way back to B, but this site is going to be taken for free. Wall is going to drop. Does Fly dare take a swing? Smoke is now cycled. Place from Koala.
And M80's got the lockdown.
That spike, and now Net awaits the perfect timing to place the lockdown. Further delay the retake attempt from MXS. There it is. That's going to be another 10 seconds now wasted.
And what's the reflank potential here for Vic? Can he get here fast enough? All of M80 in those post-plant positions set up behind yellow. Here comes the thrash from the defenders first up. He's going to be flashed out through the smoke. Fly looking to play off of it too, but walks straight into the operator light. It's BCJ falling, though, to the mosh pit of all things. Xander playing up close here. Nismo going to fall. Marta's now to get up by yellow under Empress. And that's exactly where you want him to be.
Wow.
NXS kicked themselves in this game. It's costly, yes, but it had to be done.
Impressive round, though.
Finally finding some success in a different way, which is just playing for a full retake for the first time this half, as far as I can remember. So much of this has come down to the early round engagements, finding advantages there. But in that honest retake, they play things nicely. That Thrash creating some space. Flya trying to make space for the team as well, popping out of that dark cover, went down straight away, but the rest of the team were able to scale a bit deeper afterwards. Mata getting that nice position at yellow at the same time as Vic to pinch everyone in B main. And that was well executed. Sign of life for MXS on defense.
And M80 spent so big in that previous round for the Koala Noob Brent to rebuy that operator. So their economy, a little shaky at the moment. Good pressure on Koala Noob. He was absolutely caught by that Dizzy. That opens up this part of the map entirely here for the defenders. Forces M80 to make a play for the A site. There is that Killjoy util set up, and Vic has already deployed the wall. Nismo gets across, though, into Nest. This is going to force Vic to fall off and play from Rafter.
Yeah, and frankly, Vic did not need to do a thing there. Fly has the null command, wait for the team to group up. Odashima actually catches one as well, extending the advantage that they've got into this round. This should be a simple cleanup from here for MXS.
This comeback comes pretty late in the half, and if MXS can hold it down, they'll be in good position. Marta dismisses forward. Xander was good for 2 by Jen. Can't find the third. Stunned out there. It's all left to Nismo, who's playing well back of this, but it is in a position to watch that post-plant setup. That's all he can do. Eventually, Marta going to be able to defuse the spike, and that's MXS finding 2 rounds in a row. There are only 2 rounds of this half, but it's something to play off of.
They're going to turn this thing around, extend this series.
Better in these retake situations.
It'd be kind of nice if they did.
But also, they do a nice job of punishing that very aggro attempt from Koalanub early into the round, trying to mix things up. Punished for it.
He's had a rough map. Again, I mean, we saw him come alive in the second half of Lotus. A lot of that had to do with the operator getting into his hands, but even on rounds where Koalanub has access to that scoped weapon, it's been hard for him to find more than just the one. Like you said, even against a team like MXS who are walking up on you. It's been a quiet outing for the Omen.
Poison orb emitting. I mean, now forced onto an awkward buy. Buy what you can, make sure you have enough for the next type round. As the entirety of them group up for this A execute. Contacting up close, waiting for the flash, the pop from Nismo.
Oh yeah, there's not going to be anything subtle about this round for M80. They've got those stingers, they want to close the gap here. More than happy to force MXS to flood retake. Here it comes. Watch pit thrown down at them here. This could be awkward. There's a lot of molly coverage on the site for the defenders. M80 not able to get to the plant location yet, and that Viper's pit, impishly deployed by Vic, who's playing from rafters here, is awkward for M80. Now they're going to plant.
Damn, they just kind of cycled into that, though.
Waiting for them. That's going to bring the pit down, but he takes a 1 versus 2 engagement. And Marta's ready to flash the rest of the team back in here from Boiler. But he stows it for a second. There's still time to play with, and here they go. Flash came out, but 1 was in response. BCJ trying to keep his head low there over the top of Nest. And Brock is ready for that angle. Flyer being brought down now. It's up to Net here. Nothing but a Sheriff and a Stinger. And Odashima and Marta can walk up in this and just play a double swing if they have to. Had Net swung, there might have been an opportunity there, but no. It'll be another one for MXS. Finding their spot to pivot off here and putting 3 rounds together in quick succession.
That was a really heads-up Viper's pit from Vic. The timing he had on that was fantastic. Just further deny access to this site after the mollies that Odashima had littered around expired. Really well done.
I like this call, though, from M80. Pump the brakes on MXS.
The retake, you can see all of that utility synced up as the dark cover is fading.
They're good for a buy here, right? This is their last buy.
Such a tough combination for the opposite side to deal with when you have to break multiple flashes, your crosshairs going everywhere, and then you're getting swung and there's nothing you can do.
Also, they're flashes that don't affect you at all as the deploying team, which is a small matter, but definitely can be important when you are trying to line up all that util to make sure you can flood effectively into the site. But yeah, even in the pre-plant, right? Like the stall util was unreal. Not to mention, like you said, the Viper's pit from Vic coming down at a great moment.
That was even with Koalanub. He did place that dark cover really deep. Another one of the benefits of having that Omen are for those very deep smokes on A that allow you access to, you know, far further into the site, being able to play more forward positions that typically you wouldn't be able to if you were just running that solo Viper.
Let's wrap things up.
Getting up,
lock in the top 2. You lock in that Ascension spot with the win here.
We're heading back into the game after the M80 timeout called by Happy, their coach. Thrash available for BCJ. A lockdown on the opposite side for Odashima. As Brock as well works towards his Thrash, so on the cusp of a couple significant ultimates here.
Might get what he was waiting for there. Okay. Punishing that push up there by Marta. Again, we know he wants to get the operator in his hands as early and as often as possible. Oh, yeah. That is big.
Thrash?
Now the Thrash can clear close here.
Thrash got him.
Down, Marta detained. This is dangerous. Gonna have to be
get another one off that.
He can't afford to. Spend that time looking out from heaven.
Hold on.
Still,
Wait a minute.
Play from Nest and Boiler.
Wait a minute.
Quick kills, and it's going to be frenzied fighting on the side itself.
No, they're fine.
Otoshima are able to get a huge lockdown here. This is going to force M8 to split.
Otoshima and Nismo crossing mid, expecting Nismo. He's trying to isolate this fight, 1v1 and then another.
Found them. Killed my bot.
He knows.
Out of charges.
Alarm bot triggered over to the B side though, and Otoshima realizes he can no longer afford to try and split Koala Noob and Nismo up. So they will, as expected, join together.
Nice.
Otoshima! What was that flick? Over towards the top of the container, 30 HP in a dream.
Gonna try and sit behind the
M80
turret.
trying to find their way back into the game. A messy affair over at A. Heads over to the B side of the map, and eventually Otoshima falls. Couldn't play off his turret the way he would have liked. A close round, but M80 are 1 round away from Ascension.
And Nismo was so calm after his teammate went down, regardless of that situation, just remained in place in B main, didn't move a muscle off that tap. Not even afraid of it getting to half, was so aware of Otoshima's intentions. This could be it for MXS. They've really peaked during the playoffs. They've been playing better than they have all year. But M80 have just hit a totally new level. MXS have the ultimates to play with here. See if that's enough. Great first kill from Mata.
Early push up over onto the A side.
Should buy at least one more round.
Koala Noob and Neb have already fallen. BCJ trying to get that Dizzy back. 0 point there will at least tell M80 the flyer is embedded here on the site proper. He's more concerned about that flank potential from mid. M80 have so little map control. And there it is. That's a clean one from Fire. This should put it to bed virtually. M80 have to try to find a way to win the round out. And they interrupted the plant there. Wingman gets taken down by the molly.
They're just going to back down and save.
Yeah, there's no other option but save for M80. Look at the state of their credits right now. Absolutely down the drain. You know, despite MXS losing that last round, the consolation for them was the damage dealt to M80. These rounds have been down to the wire, and it's resulted this late in the game, despite M80 having won so many rounds.
This last round going to be one of the hardest to come by all year for M80. So easy to seize up here, to make mistakes when you know you're so close to your goal. There's more work that needs to be done here, and MXS are threatening a push to overtime now. A very clean round that will allow them to also start to stabilize their economy.
Model wants to hunt just a little bit, feeling so confident. The star duelist for MXS, and not just for MXS, I mean, he is the star player of Challengers this year. Far and away the statistical leader in damn near every single category, and it's not even close. The man's averaging 22 kills a map, which, funny enough, is what he's at right now. The consistency is out of this world.
All right, come on, M80.
Of course, Sanders saved that rifle, but the rest of the squad has to just buy what little they can that affords them enough money to have a real buy for round 24. MXS
gonna be able to do it here.
Clean little anti-eco win. They've
been
been consistent in these situations up
Imagine
until this
Xander,
point.
the hero rifle.
Round might be the big one for M80. Using this round to build into it, because they'll be able to have both those Killjoy and KO ultimates up then too. Pretty huge for attackers indeed. Raw kid, nice little march that's going to force Koala to pull out. I think he actually catches the Omen on the way through. That is a devastating start to the round.
Wow.
He goes for more.
Audacious, but it pays off. He's hungry. And MXS know there's blood in the water now. They are circling. BCJ up close, tried to go for a wingman plant, but caught with util in his hand. And Nismo with nothing but a classic.
Overtime 10?
Create an opportunity here.
Or do we get an 11-13?
And so
what are we thinking?
We go to round 24 here on Icebox, folks. M80 can buy for the most part. They have big ultimates online. And they'd love to close things out here.
And again, a timeout called by the TAC FPS legend of a coach, Happy. I mean, in that round, man, when you see Brock make this play, gets that kill after the turret takes contact, brother, you're in a 5v4 with Ascension on the line. They've been playing this whole
What up,
year
Magnus?
for this moment.
How you
and he
doing,
says, nah,
bud?
swing and just tap that guy down. That is some brazen confidence for one of the best clutchers in the league. Lovely shot.
I've been here, man.
And this is everything on the line.
Hoping to see M80 pull this
trying
off
to take
here.
This into overtime. M80 trying to return to Ascension for a second year in a row, right their wrongs from last year. They've got the expert on qualifying for partnership on the team now, Net, as well.
That they do. This is
what happened, Vader?
Someone who's having a great showing here in general. Honestly, I mean, pretty important clutch has been won out here through the playoffs. He's done very well there.
Hey, yo! Hugs dealer, if you ain't showstopper. What up, big dog? How you doing, fam? What up, bro? What up, what up? Happy Monday. Hopefully you've been good, big dog.
1,000 credits at the end of the last round. So he doesn't even
Appreciate the bid
just become best
and
friends.
the follow, fam.
Pushing deep right now. Straight out mid, trying to catch someone from M80.
Damn,
Do they
for
go
real?
For more, though.
We have to have heard this.
It's fucking brutal, bro. Sorry, Magnus.
Sort of ready for it, but the other enough players.
Yo, Hugs, what's good, big dog?
Kwaanoob now gets his head swung in the other direction. Now he knows. Is gonna draw.
Do we know when your next fight is yet?
This could be an absolute bloodbath. Okay, a lot of flash util coming out here. Can it be played off of? Fire's been inserted close. Has to have been spotted there.
Yeah, these days we just mostly do a lot of like esports watch parties and stuff, honestly. Kind of go along with the YouTube brand we're starting to build.
And they've drawn so much out of M80.
Do a lot of like esports content.
They really have. This null command was used so
this week's kind of crazy.
It's going to be used over on
yo,
M80
Magnus, things have been good, man.
No one from MXS will be positioned there. They recover the util and
busy right now as far as like there's a lot going on, but luckily it kind of tapers down just in time for
trying to give free access
little man number 2 to arrive at the beginning of September.
He stuck around for a long time. Marta was hoping for something free there. Still no part now.
And then
the attackers coming down
towards the end of September, I believe, is when like the Scholastic League and stuff should be cranking up.
4 left to play off here for M80. Flyer might be low, but still, he can have an impact.
Word? Bad.
Sat on top of 410 as Dispo takes contact inside the pit itself. They're trying to wrap around this Viper's pit.
I know we got one this weekend, but I also know that Cash want to start doing them more often. I have a lot of fun casting over there.
It's Xander, 1 versus 3 inside the pit, and he can't finish the job.
And we got overtime.
Ah,
damn.
Are joking. How have they done that? In the face of 3 ultimates. A huge hurdle to have to cross on that final round. You are
Dude,
joking,
I've been
man.
checking out Marvel Rivals a little bit. It looks like it's a lot of fun. I wish it was more than just like an Overwatch like copy, because I would love something new to get my hands on, and I don't know if that's something that would like last.
If he had that later to cancel the thrash from Brock even, but he doesn't. The lockdown used, sure it gets the site, but MXS just
Hugs, what other games do you like to play other than Undisputed, homie?
Clinging on to what life they have left on their own map pick to try to get us to sunset.
Okay.
By the way, chat, Hugs
M80 have been here before.
is one of the fighters over with the East League, Undisputed League that me and Llama been casting here last couple months.
MXS know what is at stake
We got another event this
Falling down
Sunday.
the lower bracket, knowing that the Sharks are still circling. There are some
I don't know
quality
if
teams
Hugs
still
you
left in
stream
the
or not.
competition.
If not, you should.
That's not a chance they want to take. Here's Vic. Gets chewed up, spit out by Xander over that B side. Now will encroach further.
Typically, that B side of the map is Vic's domain.
Everyone wants to play damage, so similar problems. Similar problems.
Exposed as well. Pure contact from MXS. Sure, they've gained access to the A site, but at this point, at what cost?
Oh, word. Bet.
Whoa, there, but it's off the paranoia. The Kwaanoob surges in. What a TP over to Crows. That is nuts. Brock able to take some contact. Was flashed, but unperturbed, apparently. And M80 get that defensive round here in overtime. Huge play, I think, over on that B side. Really lightens the load for them elsewhere.
It's crazy how Sims still
over towards B,
seems to have like such a market share after all these years. Hasn't gone anywhere.
Well. Dominance across the map. And the whole time MXS, they intended on just trying to contact over into A.
Yo, I appreciate you, Magnus. Yeah, man, things been good. Your boy's gonna be live a bit with some watch parties across a few titles over the next like week or so. So if you want to swing through and vibe, Magnus, feel free to pull up, say what's up.
M80 have been in control. They've been playing catch up.
We got Rocket League and Valorant the next 2 days, and then Esports World Cup for Apex Thursday through Sunday.
Towards mid. This is very reminiscent of what we saw on that last round of regulation against M80.
Busy boy.
This time, though, they don't extend nearly as far.
We're still trying to see if I can get permissions to do
I mean, look at the way M80
VCT champions, but I have not been able to get permissions. So if we watch that, we'll be just watching it Discord.
Ready to pounce. 0 point from Fly. Catches a couple towards B main.
Always good to see you, Vader.
Content playing this very slow early on. Waiting out this aggression. They've really been conditioned into thinking could come.
We're down under a minute and they have no map control by it. They have no presence in mid. They've got no one inserted over towards the A side, and they're just now emerging from green. Still flash with a decent amount of
watch MXS forced overtime, and that's about to be over.
Towards yellow. Neto gets a play through mid. There's a good opening there. Vic does go down. They're splitting the B site, and they've got 1-for-1 for the most part. Xander now can be a problem. Inserted over towards kitchen, can play through this.
They still haven't been able to get access, but they do still have the Viper wall.
Handle this Viper threat. Xander's got his crosshair placed wrong.
Xander,
but he doesn't get punished for it now as that wingman plant goes down.
Xander. There it is. Bam.
Huge fight, and Xander finds the timing. Pit going to go down as well. Why not?
I don't know if I like that pit, but
Brock has to make a big play.
It shouldn't really matter.
The wingman is immediately brought down. Dizzy employed over towards yellow. They have to know where Brock is right now, and Xander's
there it is. Xander. There it is. M80.
M80 have done it, folks. They're headed to Monterey.
They are guaranteed ascension with the win today.
I mean, the reaction from them tells the
now
story.
it's still about placement if they are able to win a playoffs here, but
over a year for this moment. This is what they've
been
big
playing
for the last 8 months. They've leveled up so
Bro,
much.
BCJ looks so much different now that he's like
joining the team. The struggles
boy hit puberty, got some facial hair.
Him into their system, integrate him as a new IGL. They lost their IGL. You know, they're not starting from scratch, but it can feel like it in a situation like that, and they climb all the way back to the top where we expected them to be at the beginning of this year.
It's a long road.
Bumpy, a goddamn road, but they got there.
Yeah, it's such a long road, making it through challenges into a game like that. And it takes so much pressure off their shoulders now. Yes, they're going to be, of course, in the grand final of Challengers playoffs, but that was the game.
We're up all out of here.
To have yet another chance for Net to have a
chance.
If
y'all are, if y'all haven't got to check out the most recent videos, we've dropped 3 videos across 3 different titles, esports-wise, in the last 3 days.
Ridiculous series.
Over on the YouTube.
That really was ridiculous. What an end to that series.
We got VCT champions starting up here in a couple of days. So if y'all haven't gotten to check the pick'ems for that yet.
In overtime at that, and Roy winning with
check it right there with that video.
Yep, just that, eh? Okay. Absolutely.
You know, do the YouTube thing, say what's up, help out in the comments, the likes.
The momentum on that map, right? Like, it was very streaky for both teams. It's just that
I said earlier I didn't think I was going to be doing the lower bracket game. I think I'm gonna stick with that. We got a long day tomorrow. Yo, King! I appreciate you, big dog. Because there's a good chance we are going to watch the lower bracket finals for this tomorrow in between shift. Although I might just wait to do that only on Wednesday, the more I think about it, and only do the grand finals. I don't know. We'll see. We'll at least do grand finals on Wednesday. As long as I don't cast Wednesday night, because that's always, of course, part of the thing with the scheduling as well, right? But appreciate y'all for coming through, hanging out, man. I'm out of here. Yo, you like the Joker poster? I need to get my MJ one, actually. It's a canvas poster. I need to actually get it stretched. instead of being a loser. But it still looks good back there. Goes back with the rest of my sports theme back there with the MJ and then Cardinal stuff since I'm from St. Louis. Well, originally from St. Louis. Now I live out here on the East Coast. But chat, I'm out of here, man. Check out the YouTube if you haven't yet, for real. Your boys grinding, trying to cross 500 subs, maybe here by September. We're only like 45 subs away. And then see if we can cross that 1,000 mark by the end of the year. Appreciate y'all. Till we catch y'all back over here for the next one, man. Don't forget, with everything crazy going on in the world today, be true, be you, be sincere. Game hard and love hard. All right, y'all. Love you guys. We'll be back live tomorrow. Peace. I'm out of here. Appreciate you, Hugs. Good seeing you pull up, fam.